Thank you very much, all. Hello. We have 3 public hearing items, and then the regular meeting, please. Everyone, can I have your attention, please? Thank you. Today is Wednesday the 15th at 6 p.m. It is now 6:04. Celeste, you want to move? Yep.
Okay. All right. Christine, did you want to defer the first one to next? Okay, so I didn't know yet. So for folks that are here this evening, just an update on our public hearing items. We are going to defer and table the permits and licenses presentation on the good neighbor policy until next month. And that being said, the second item on the agenda is going to be folks that I don't think are all here yet. So we're waiting for the Borough President's Office rep to arrive. But I know we have Riseborough is here. Is St. Nicolaine's here? Yes, Riseborough's in the house. Is St. Nicolaine's here? Right here, right on time. Is Opportunities for a Better Tomorrow here? Not. Are you? Okay, I don't see anyone from OBT yet. All right, so we will move on now to agenda item number 3. We'll start with, this is our first item, Ron Mandel and Elena Green from Belkin Bird and Goldman, LLP, regarding Melrose Towers Corp. application. We thank you for being here on time and prepared.
Hello, please, guys, could you calm it down? There's a presentation we want everybody to hear. It's very important.
Hi, everyone. And our presentation, it can be viewed on the screen. I hope I can see from there. Hi, everyone. As the chair mentioned, district manager mentioned, my name is Ron Mandel. I'm joined by my colleague, Elena Green. And our clients, the owners of the property and occupants of the site will be here in a few minutes. Our application, it's a city planning application. We're proposing to rezone a property and also a zoning map amendment to map the property within a mandatory inclusionary housing area. As it gets pulled up, so the property itself, go for it. It's okay. Good to go? Perfect. Okay. I'll start from the beginning. Hello again. My name is Ron. I'm joined by my colleague Elena and our clients Asher and Israel. Asher and Israel's families own the property that we're speaking about tonight. They've also operated their business from this site for about 16 years. And I think you've been in the community for about 24, 25 years. Okay. So this slide shows the property. There's the subject rezoning involves 5 tax lots. Asher and Israel's family own 3 of the 5 lots. One lot has a 2-story building on it. It's a warehouse and office building. And the 2 other lots are used for parking. The property itself, there's an 18-footer and 2 18-footer lots and 1 25-footer lots. And I know it's a little hard to see from here, but there's basically 2 boxes. So our client's property, or the box, is a rectangle to the left. And we're seeking to also rezone the rectangle to the right, which is 2 other tax lots. There are 2 existing residential buildings. This property is located within an M11 district. So you can't have residential here. We're looking to take these non-conforming buildings and make them conforming. The lot area measures about 11,000 square feet. As I mentioned before, the zoning is an M11. Next. We're seeking to rezone the property to an R6A with an M12A. It's an MX district, which permits a mix of uses from light manufacturing, commercial, retail, and residential. It's uniquely located like in a pocket in this portion of Bushwick. It's on Melrose Street between Evergreen to the east and Stanwix to the west. This subject block is M11 in its totality. We're only looking to rezone these 5 tax lots on the block. And if you're familiar with the area, you would know that it's unique in the sense that there's residential to the north, to the south, and to the west. The idea behind the MX district, this mixed-use district, is to provide flexibility for other lots on the block. So we could still maintain manufacturing use on our lot and residential, and slowly, if other property owners seek to rezone their property, this land use pattern would extend on this street front to allow those mix of uses. Next. This is a tax map highlighting the 5 tax lots. Again, proposing an M12A/R6A to allow that flexibility in uses. Next. And a zoom in of the zoning map, highlighting the fact that we're within this M11 district. You may be familiar with the building across the street, the Rheingold site. This is a different zoning to the extent that we're proposing an R6A, which is the lower density district. Also, our project, which involves about 18 apartments with ground floor commercial use, is required to have affordable housing. Any rezoning, and this is actually the first project in the community district that would be subject to mandatory inclusionary housing, hopefully one of many. Next. This slide, it's an aerial showing some context in terms of the surroundings. I mentioned before that we're in this unique pocket of M11. If you're familiar with this portion of Melrose Street, there's really not much manufacturing, if at all, on this street front. To the extent that a lot of, whatever warehouses do exist, they were converted to non-manufacturing type uses and also to residential uses. And as I mentioned, those 2 adjacent residential buildings would be then conforming uses after the rezoning. There are a mix of buildings that measure in height between these 7 stories to 8 and 9 stories. And our building design is a 6-story building to try to be in context with the surrounding residential development. The next slide just shows some images for those of you who are not familiar with the area. Different views of Melrose Street. Upper left shows Melrose, the southern portion of Melrose, facing west. The one on the right shows another photo further east. Bottom left shows Evergreen and the larger commercial buildings that are along Evergreen. Next. If you're familiar with the site also, we're within short walking distance to a subway and a lot of bus lines. We think this is appropriate in terms of, again, people who live here have access to public transportation, which I think is also a big plus. Before I hand over the mic to Elena, we're just highlighting some of the project benefits. I mentioned earlier that this property is zoned M11. Again, it's remained fallow as an M11 site for many, many years. I'd love to invite the owners up to explain kind of how we got to where we are today and explain how this site doesn't work for their business. Asher, do you want to join me? Putting you on the spot here. So Melrose is a very, very narrow street. And when Asher and Israel moved their business there 16 years ago, it was a very different neighborhood to the extent that no one was parking on the street. So it's easy to pull in trailers into their parking lot. It was easy to basically put vans on the street and unload supplies. Slowly, this portion of Bushwick changed a lot. Rheingold was developed across the street. Now they can't pull a trailer into their parking lot. The street's too narrow. And now because when there's parking on both sides of the street, which happens obviously after business hours, they get yelled at a lot for to have to move vans and trucks. And so they actually moved their business. Their office is still in the building, but they moved the warehouse and storage to a location around the block. And the hope is that their building could further expand in this other location. I know you've taken on more employees in the last few years. God willing, that'll grow. They're invested in this neighborhood. They want to stay in this neighborhood. But again, from their perspective, just unfortunately, this portion of Bushwick can't accommodate a feasible commercial activity. You want to speak to that?
Hi. What was this? So my name is Asher Stessel. Yeah, I'm actually the owner on this specific lot size we're referring to for the past 16, 17, something like that. When we came from a different area totally in Brooklyn, it was actually not much on the street. There was nothing. It was only commercial. Was a little bit. I have to move there. That's good. Was actually a little bit. It was actually almost no residential houses on this entire street, so we felt like there was an opportunity. It was vacant land over there, and we actually, that small building, we brought up on that one, and we got our company running out of that location. Within the years, we outgrown the location, and we purchased additional land to it in order not to have the employees to use the parking on the street to leave for people that the Rheingold, whatever, was built right across, not to block traffic. So we had to park, as you can see, the garage right next to the building. Within the years, the last 5, 6 years, business expanded. We have trailers coming in each and every day. We saw that we just jamming the traffic over there. Like, people tried to come in, and it's no way. So we got another warehouse around the corner. If I'm sure you all remember, there was Richie's Gym over there, going back years ago. And before COVID time, they went out of business, so there was an opportunity to get that property for our warehouse. So we rented that space, and we got over there. Total, the company has about 22 to 24 employees, most of the people of the area. They all work in that location, but we kept the office since we have been already stationed into that place for so many years. We kept it, but beside the few people sitting in the office, there was not much we were able to use the facility anymore besides for the office space because of the narrow street, of the so many apartments right across. There was developed, which brought a phenomenal people living on that street. So we tried a couple of years ago to start running for an opportunity to bring up projects so we should be able to serve the community for residential, affordable housing, and they should be able, and we should still be able to operate in the area, not to have to move our company out of this entire, like, to a different state or whatever. And that's actually where we are up to date, and trying to expand the business, still in the area, hiring more people, and still get some housing and affordable for the people living.
Hi, everyone. As Ron mentioned, my name's Elena. I'm going to kind of explain how the project aligns with the Bushwick Community Plan. When we spoke with the Community Board's Land Use Committee a few weeks ago now, it was brought up, this community developed plan, and we just wanted to highlight some ways in which our project aligns with the principles of this plan. So one of those ways is mapping mixed-use manufacturing districts in manufacturing areas. So we're not totally getting rid of the opportunity to do manufacturing uses in this area, so to avoid displacement. We're still going, and in the rezoning, we are also, because we're permitting residential use, we will also be requiring permanent affordable housing. And if this rezoning area is expanded or anything else is developed within our rezoning area, they will also be required to produce affordable housing. Next. And then we kind of took a look back in history to see how the street has evolved. So we found these very cool 1940s tax photos where you can see that a majority of the street when it was originally developed was residential with a few manufacturing uses throughout. Actually, that third photo from the left side of the screen is the actual site. So there was a large apartment building there prior. Go ahead, next. And then you could see in the 1980s, anytime prior to the 1980s tax photos, there was a large portion of the buildings on this block were demolished, and a large portion of the block has sat vacant in the time since. There are a few manufacturing uses on the block right now, including our client's warehouse, and then also there's one other warehouse on the block that has been developed since, but otherwise it is the new Rheingold building and the non-conforming residential uses that are in our project area. Next. And then in addition to the Bushwick Community Plan, there's the 2019 DCP created, city planning created Bushwick Neighborhood Plan, and our proposed zoning district directly aligns with what city planning had proposed. So it is a R6A district for residential paired, which is a mid-density residential district paired with a M12A manufacturing district, which permits floor area ratios of up to 3.0 for manufacturing and residential, or manufacturing commercial uses. And then just a bit more specifics on the proposed development itself. It's going to be 6 stories, but the 6th story is set back from the street, so it doesn't feel as imposing on this mid-block area. So we're trying to not kind of get into the territory that Rheingold got in with putting a 9-story building in a place that's not really contextual for that. So we were trying to consider the height of everything else on the mid-block. Also, it is going to be 18 total units, 5 to 6 of which will be permanently affordable under the mandatory inclusionary housing program, as Ron stated. It's going to be a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, with an average unit size of about 800 square feet. Right, next. And then there are proposed currently to be 2 ground floor spaces that can either be used for light manufacturing uses or commercial uses. The applicant team is actively reaching out to the community to hear feedback on what uses the community feels would be best in these spaces. We've already heard feedback that probably not anything food related, given there's a big grocery store in the Rheingold development. So if it does end up being commercial, we're looking at things more like urgent cares or daycare centers, something aligned with that. And if it's light manufacturing, that's going to look something like artist maker space, ceramics, print shops, smaller manufacturing type uses. All right, and then this is just a comparison of the details of what is existing currently under the manufacturing zoning, what is permitted under our zoning, and what we're proposing. And there are just 2 items I wanted to point out here. Under our proposed rezoning, residential buildings could be developed up to 95 feet. We're only going to 65, keeping in mind the contextual nature of the area, like I was speaking to before. In addition, this sets the precedent to do mixed use on this block, which was contemplated under the Bushwick Community Plan, which on the other side of this block, which doesn't front on Melrose, it fronts on Jefferson. There are also a bunch of non-conforming residential uses, so this could eventually one day be expanded to make those conforming as well, while still maintaining any manufacturing. All right, go ahead. And then just a few details on the mandatory inclusionary housing we're proposing. So currently we're looking at MIH options 1 and 2. For option 1, that would be 25% of the residential floor area being devoted to permanently affordable units. And that would be at an average of 60% of the area median income. Or MIH option 2, which is 30% of the residential floor area, with an average of 80% of rents at 80% of the area median income. And then just a look at a few of the sustainability features, keeping in mind we want to produce a building that's green and doesn't have a lot of negative emissions in the neighborhood. So we're looking at a green roof, which would help with stormwater and also heat management, and then all electric appliances, energy efficient lighting, and plumbing fixtures that control flow but are still, good performance. Right. And then finally, this is just a look of recent developments in the neighborhood, showing that we're in line with what's recently been developed, except none of these projects have mandatory inclusionary housing in them. This one makes the proposed affordable housing that we're doing permanent and required, and would be so if we expanded as well. And then we're happy to take any questions.
Hello, 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 no, 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 no. Anyone? I will pass the mic. We will go here, then we're going to go here. Anyone? Then we're going there. And then from there, I'm going to, please. I'll be sitting there, so address your questions to the board, and they will face us and answer us, please.
Thank you. Christian Celeste Tate, first vice chair. First, I just want to thank the owners for coming here and also say that I really appreciate that when you outgrew the space, you chose to keep your business in Bushwick. That to me is very meaningful, and so I want to start with that. I have a quick question and then just a concern that I want to give you a chance to speak to. The quick question is just for the first floor, you talked about commercial and light manufacturing spaces, but that might also be retail space, correct?
The zoning gives that flexibility to have retail uses, light manufacturing, a range of commercial uses.
Okay, so it might be maker spaces and pottery shops, or it might be luxury retail to cater to residences nearby.
Listen, at the end of the day, the ownership would love to have a tenant today. It's just premature to know, who. They've been talking to people in the neighborhood, trying to figure out, what's marketable. It's just too early to nail down a particular use. We went with the MX district intentionally, as opposed to doing just a commercial overlay, which is what exists along Evergreen. This is one of the only MX districts in the immediate area, intentionally, so that it gives us that flexibility. Hopefully, there is a demand for that, and which is, we'd love to fill it.
Understood, thank you. And then my concern is just, as I think that question alludes to, is that I think that manufacturing space presents a really significant public good in our community. And I think if we are going to vote to give away that public good, it has to be in exchange for another public good. And my concern is that 30% affordability, though that is consistent with MIH, is not enough of a public good to me to warrant giving away precious manufacturing space. And I absolutely hear your argument that the neighborhood around it has changed, but that's always going to be the argument for why we should get rid of our manufacturing spaces in exchange for retail space that is more profitable. And so I guess do you have any thought, like what makes this a greater public good, or at least an equal public good to the manufacturing space we would be giving up?
Sure, I think it's a fair point. I'm not opposed to manufacturing. I mean, that's the business my dad grew up and fed our family on. I think it just has to be in the appropriate place. Asher and Israel found a location around the block where it makes sense. There's a wide street, there's a loading berth, trucks can come in, you don't disrupt residential neighbors across the street. So I think in terms of manufacturing uses, of course it makes sense. I mean, that's what, New York was founded on, but it has to be in the right location. In terms of the affordable housing, again, listen, 100% affordable would be amazing, but the reality is that this is a privately financed project, $0 from New York City. There's the first MIH project. This is not Rheingold across the street that even could apply for benefits from HPD. This is an 18-unit building. We tried being sensitive and creating units that are larger. If we do smaller units, there'll be more affordable housing. Ownership was trying to have bigger units to cater more to families. There's a big chunk of many, many 2 bedrooms, and they squeeze in some 3 bedrooms as well. A lot of new developments in the neighborhood have mostly 1 bedrooms and studios, which I know the community can confirm. So I think all in all, I think this is a reasonable project. And at the end of the day, it's also a feasible project. It's something that actually could be built and financed and not just remain fallow.
And I also wanted to clarify that manufacturing use is still going to be permitted here. And just thinking about the concerns of ownership currently, it would be a smaller space, which is more conducive to the issues that they're having on the street of moving large trucks in and out. So manufacturing is definitely going to still be permitted. It's just going to be more in line with what the area now is conducive to.
And the reason why it was also MX was introduced here, I mentioned before, there's no other MXs in the immediate area. The idea is that if other owners decide to rezone the properties as they extend further down Melrose, if there's a larger lot that can accommodate, like, trucks coming into the lot or development of a loading berth, like that opportunity would be available.
Hi, Ann Guiney, Housing and Land Use Economic Development Chair. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you coming last time. And as Christian said, he actually asked a lot of the questions I had, which are, we appreciate you for keeping the business in the neighborhood. This is incredibly important to us. And I think this really gets to a lot of the questions that I am going to ask you, which is, this rezonings don't matter. I mean, electric buildings, like that is never codified in a rezoning. It's not. And so while that's lovely, we like to hear it, what we actually do want to hear is the things that we can actually take home and bank on. Because I think, as we discussed last time, we have had a lot of trouble with that, where people say, yes, 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 absolutely, the sun, the sky. But that's not actually what happens, because that is ultimately a gentleman's handshake deal, and that is not what we're interested in. We are interested in keeping businesses in this neighborhood. We are interested in keeping light manufacturing. Honestly, I'm sure there are many places for a ceramic studio. I think that this, I don't want to throw any shade on ceramic studios. They're wonderful things. However, I think the bigger point is, like, we are really actively trying to maintain light manufacturing here. And so anything that in any way chips away at that is somewhat problematic for us. As Christian said, there is a give and take. You guys are asking for something, and we are willing to support your business, but we also are asking for a public good in return. And so therefore, the 30%, I mean, we actually talked about this at the committee meeting, the 30%, which is at a much higher AMI, is actually, in a funny way, less interesting to us than the lower AMIs with more units. So that is something that, or the option one as opposed to the other option. So I would like to throw all of those things out there and really ask you guys to be partners with us as you are asking us to be partners with you.
Yeah, I think just to our earlier point, we agree with everything you said. With respect to the affordable housing, we do believe at the moment the 60 AMI does make more sense for this project. And I don't know if the community knows this, so the way it works is that there's a lottery.
Annette Spellin, CB4. Christian and Ann hit on some of the things that I was thinking about. But one of the questions I have, can you define, for those who don't know, what the current zoning is for that particular area?
So the current zoning is M11, which is a low-scale manufacturing district. It currently only permits manufacturing and commercial uses up to a floor area ratio of 1.0, which is not very dense. And just to the point of what I said earlier, there is actually, this has been the zoning since the 60s, and since all of the residential buildings were demolished on this block, a large portion of the block has sat vacant. If you look at a map, there's many vacant lots that have been that way for a while, which, leads us to believe that perhaps this is not the correct zoning district for this area to, get public benefit and development, as opposed to being underutilized vacant lots.
No one else? Oh, hey, I'm sorry, Felix.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Felix Ceballos, CB4 member. In our community, we have very hard situation about the rent. The regular family they need apartment, no studio apartment. My question is, because so many area is going to be for business, the building can be more higher, more stories, to try to give it to the community more affordable housing. Thank you.
So there are 18 units in the building currently, and a lot of the concerns we heard initially from city planning were, and what's written in their neighborhood plan and the Bushwick Community Plan kind of speaks to the idea of not wanting large developments on mid-blocks to kind of keep with the neighborhood character. Also, we heard similar feedback when we were speaking to the Land Use Committee, and as such, we redesigned the unit count so that there's only 4 one-bedrooms, and we added 3 bedrooms, which weren't at all in the unit mix, because we are sensitive to the idea that we want families to be able to live in this. So a majority of the units that we are proposing are larger and are at an average square feet that is higher than what you see normally in developments nearby. That being said, as Ron stated earlier, it is being privately financed, and I mean, it is something we could look at, you know, potentially increasing height, but then, you know, you run into the issues of whether or not it fits with the neighborhood. So we are open to listening to, you know, what you guys want back in terms of, you know, how many units and the sizes.
All right. See no other hand. Anyone on Zoom?
Yes, hi there, Camacho.
Oh, Zuma?
Yes, hi there. This is Zinova, yes, from CB4 member. Thank you all for the presenters. I really, truly appreciate your coming here. My concern is this. Melrose is a really small block, per se. How would you deal with, one, it's very, very congested around there. And when I mean congested, I mean not only trying to find parking, but people. I mean, we're like almost top of each other. And the noise and trucks coming down Melrose and trucks coming down Steinway, which I'm going to advocate to have no trucks coming down either those 2 streets because they're just rushing to get into Bushwick that they shouldn't. How will you deal with that? Because we already have a lot of people per se. Would you have any type of underground parking, being that it's privately being funded? I'm just curious about that. And thank you.
Sure. So in light of the conditions and the hope to keep the building at a lower height, we're actually not providing any parking. Zoning waives parking in this area because we're within a certain distance from the subway. The hope is that people who live here will rely on public transportation, both buses and subway.
Seeing no other, I just have one. I know you read the books. There were 2 books. There was a book from CB4, and there was a planning one. So I obviously you took the planning one, right? But you only took CB4. Wait, let me finish. I ain't finished it. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. We have families here. We don't have roommates. 1, 2. The 3 bedrooms, you're talking about 5 and 6. How many 3 bedrooms are you going to give? How many, because you only said 5 and 6, so that leaves how many 2 bedrooms and how many 1 bedrooms that you're going to put in the lotto when you got millions of people in the lotto? My question is, why not split? Since you said it's 16, why not go 8 and 8? Give me 2. Give me split the 2s and the 3s and give me the 3s, and we can work with it. But we really need to make sure that our families get to live in these places. I'm sick and tired. I don't come with a dog, and I don't come, mind you, everybody does, or I don't come with roommates. I come with family and grandkids and kids and kids. And we really need to start focusing on the people and their families, because it's very easy for them to go in a shelter, and it's $200 a night the city's paying, and you times it by 31, you're talking about $6 grand, when we can put them in a 3 or a 4 and bring the families back home. I think the book that you read was in ours. We do want manufacture. We want to make sure that that space that you have down there, maybe you can get some funding. If you can't get no funding, you're only thinking about ching-ching, let the cash register ring, then I think you're in the wrong place. And we really need to work are better for this community now more than ever. The Wrangell site, they threw a monkey wrench on that one, so you know about the Wrangell site with that. So we're not even gonna talk about that. So you need to come back here. That 30% doesn't work for us because 30% don't work. People are really, maybe we need to go to some of these shelters, and you need to come to some of these places where people are sleeping in their cars, and I can show you where there's a brand new building and they live there all their lives and say, why can't I afford to live here? Only because people want to make money and not take care of the people that made this place what it is. So that's my concern with you guys. Maybe you guys can go back to the drawing board and read up. On my end, I would say no to this project. That's not what we want, and that's not what we need here. If this board is going to be, if they're going to do whatever they want to do with the city or whatever, they want to gamble, let them do whatever, but we need to support our community the way we're supposed to support it in regards to the affordability. That is my opinion. Everyone has their own opinion and their own vote, but I will vote this project down because it does not bring my family back home.
Angani again, Camacho, you know I love you. It's privately financed. It can't go above 30%. That is, I don't like it, you don't like it. These are real conversations that we have to have. This is not about this particular project. This is about city policy. This is about a much bigger conversation. I'm sorry, I'm getting heated because it is very real. I hate this. I do not like that I am saying you, Camacho, this is not okay, because you are right and I am fundamentally wrong, except for this is what policy dictates. So I am going to go against you and say I am going to vote for this because this is what the policy asks for. They're filling it. They are coming before us. It is not pretty. I do not like it. I want better for my neighborhood and for my neighbors. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, so I'm going to hand over the mic.
And I would like to comment on this. And I think that this is something that I've observed. You know, many board members sit in a very difficult position. If you're a board member, you know what I'm talking about. If you're on permits and licenses, you know what I'm talking about. You know, these aren't easy topics, right? There are variables here that are completely outside of the board's control. And as of the end of March, we held an Affordable Housing Finance 101 workshop. This is something that this board thought was very important. We paid for this, $2,500, to a private consultant, right, that provided this workshop to walk us through the reality of how these projects are financed. And so while everyone makes their decisions, and these aren't easy decisions to be made, I think it's worthwhile to recognize when you have individuals that are acknowledging right aspects of what the community has asked for, even if they can't go further. But that does not mean that this board cannot ask for them to go further, right? But just recognizing the difference between the reality of what is feasible versus what, in principle, we believe. And I think that we try to strike a really fine balance with that here. And so I thank you, Ann, for speaking up. I know that wasn't easy, right? And we know we do very hard things at these meetings all the time. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you. And I believe the council member also would like to speak.
I just want to comment. This is in Councilmember Gutierrez's district, and I don't want to comment on her project. I will say that I do feel extremely confident, and I trust Jen to negotiate a project that everybody in this community can stand behind and that will benefit the community members of District 34, hands down. I believe she'll be able to do that. And I agree with Ann that there are bigger policy issues here, and we've been working at that. Last year, we passed a bill to guarantee that city-subsidized housing really hits that very low income. There was a bill last year that got passed that was vetoed by Eric Adams to require 3 bedrooms, more 3 bedrooms in city-subsidized housing, because we do need to address the fact that we need family-sized units. And by the way, 80 square feet for a bedroom, doesn't cut it for anybody. So hopefully you consider that as well, considering this is a private project. You know, people need to be able to have a lamp and a dresser in their bedroom and things like that. And the way that the city subsidized projects have the guidelines, that doesn't account for that. So just so you know, the larger issues are in debate, and we are working at the policy level. That doesn't mean we don't need 3 bedrooms, and that doesn't mean we don't need more housing for people in our community. And we should be able to strike a balance, and I just want to uplift that I think Jen will very much negotiate the right package here.
Thank you. That ends. Thank you. Thank you.
If I may, just one last thing.
Sure.
I know that there are some controversial. This is a controversial topic in general. I would hope that the board would appreciate, though, that this is one of hopefully many projects that will bring more housing, sustainable housing, affordable housing to the neighborhood. This is the first mandatory inclusionary housing project in the community district. This is a small project. There's only so much we can do. We do believe, though, this is a step in the right direction. We tried in the immediate area, I believe it is, in the immediate area. But we do think we're going in the right direction. We tried mimicking our proposed zoning map to reflect the community board's plan and the city planning's plan, which is why we propose an MX at this lower scale FAR. So we hope that, just wanted to share that, and thank you for having us here tonight.
You're welcome. And I stand corrected. No, you're not the only project. We had a lot of projects. You'd be surprised. Thank you. Moving on.
All right, going back to agenda item number 2. Are folks from the Borough President's office here? Okay. If you can come up to the center, also from Riseboro, St. Nick's Alliance, and OBT. I will let folks introduce themselves if you want to come up. And they are here to speak about the Bushwick 1000 Youth Jobs Initiative.
Before they introduce themselves, I want to thank Bruno, Riseboro, and OBT for making the presentation here and bringing it home. I know I went to on 97 Troop. I know I got screamed at and yelled at because the thing says Bushwick 1000. It didn't say Williamsburg 1000. So I wanted to make sure that, and yes, they're all coming to Bushwick to do these jobs. We're trying, I know we set it up for May 19th between 1 and 5 at 422 Central. I'm booking the location, so we got to get our kids out. We really do. That's more important than ever. 18 and over. We got to get them out and get them jobs. There are jobs. There was over 100 people at 97 True. I want to thank them. I know I was a little rough, I know. And the Borough President office, Lillian, to thank her. She apologized, and they apologized, and they apologized to this board and said that they're right, and Antonio said we're right, and it should be done on Bushwick. And they're here going to do the presentation for us, and they're bringing the job port workforce to our community to make sure that our kids get that 1,000 jobs. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Chair Camacho. And yeah, and thank you. Deeply appreciative for the conversations that we've had over the last few weeks about this initiative. So before I start, I do have copies of just our brief slide deck that we're going through for the board. Is that okay if I just hand those out real quick?
I can do that while you're presenting. Yeah.
So here we go. Awesome. So as that's being handed out, we're going to do a quick round of introductions. So I'm Bruno Daniel, Senior Advisor for Special Initiatives for the Office of Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. We'll just go 1, 2, 3.
This was not set up for me, but that's okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here, by the way. I am Maria Vieira of Riseboro Community Partnership, and we are going to present our portion of the work that's going to be done on this wonderful Bushwick, and this is in Bushwick right now. We're in Bushwick, not Williamsburg, the Bushwick 1000.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beatrice Brown. I'm from St. Nick's Alliance Workforce Development. It's located at 92 Troop Avenue. And I just wanted to thank the Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso, for supporting us in this Bushwick 1000 and placing individuals into jobs and training. Thank you.
Hello, board and community. I'm Andy Collado. I'm the Director of Economic Empowerment Programs at Riseboro. Thank you for the opportunity today, and we hope you'll be as excited as we are after this is done.
They're trying to leave me out. Hi, everyone. My name is Evelyn Ortiz. I am the co-CEO of Opportunities for a Better Tomorrow. Really excited to be here with you all today. We have a lot in store for you and excited to partner with everyone.
So thank you all, and to our colleagues and co-collaborators here on this initiative. So the Bushwick 1000 is an initiative that came out of a discussion we had almost.
Now you got to raise it again.
Oh yeah, almost 2 years ago, May 22nd, 2024. I think I got it. Come on, Joe. We're gonna be doing this dance every time. So around May 22nd, 2024, our office convened a roundtable of about, I think it was like 30, 25 stakeholders. We met locally here in the community. One of the goals that the borough president had was to walk away with 3 immediately actionable priorities. This could have been a need, could have been a program, could have been an initiative that the community really wanted to work on. So we had a couple others, but the one that really came out as like a marquee item for us, or like of real need, was addressing the unemployment problem that Bushwick residents and especially Bushwick young people were facing. Part of this discussion also necessitated a link with a desire to have young people really integrate and be part of the city. And one of the ideas that we're still working on as we're implementing this initiative is for people to use this initiative to get access to city jobs. There was a lot of discussion around the virtues of just being civically engaged, of participating in your community, and also being part of the city workforce, which historically is like a pathway out of a lot of challenges and a lot of hurdles that community members face. We know they're union jobs, there's benefits on them, and also you get to do some of the work that you see here from the many people involved. So there was a lot of that desire and a lot of that kind of energy coming out of there. The stakeholders, probably too much to list now, but just for a little bit of information, we had everyone from just residents. I think there was community board representation there. There was also representation from our local electeds. I think Councilmember Nurse was there 2 years ago, as she is now. We had partners from our community-based organizations there as well. So it was a pretty robust conversation. Coming out of that, right there at that very meeting, the borough president decided to just kind of go for a large number. And so the one bit of consensus that we did have was that we were going to set up a program to employ 1,000 people over the next 4 years in Bushwick. That's not an easy task. We didn't come out of that meeting with any other pathway to implementation. So we kind of took as a next step to discuss internally and to discuss with our partners what we would do. Flash forwarding kind of a year and so later, one of the things that we immediately identified was our great valued partners in St. Nick's, Riseboro, and Opportunities for Better Tomorrow. So that just gives you kind of a little bit of perspective on the first 6, I would say, to 8 months worth of work coming out of that conversation, identifying which community-based organizations were even able to do this work. So yeah, with that, I'm going to pass it to St. Nick's to talk a little about what they're doing, just in general, and then we're going to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of the implementation of this program.
Put this down for me.
Maybe you can take it off.
This is good. Good evening to everyone once again. And I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for giving us the opportunity to be here today. St. Nick's Alliance, we've been in business for the last 50 years, and Workforce Development, 92 Troop Avenue, is 2 blocks across the street from Food Bazaar. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that area. And basically what we do is we offer 14 training programs in 4 different sectors. We offer financial service, health, care service, tech, and skill build. And we also assist individuals in finding employment. So our focus in right now is working with Bushwick residents, okay? And within the training program, I grew up in Bushwick Avenue. I'm also giving back to my community. I am Latina, and I'm working with individuals that live within that area. When I say we assist individuals in finding employment, we provide them with like a 4 weeks job readiness training program where we prep them with the interview skills, making sure that they have their resume up to date. We have a computer lab because we know a lot of individuals don't have the right equipment to apply for these jobs. We have employment specialists that will refer them out to job interview. I wanted to say that we have an info section on a daily basis. Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock. I do have some flyers of the info section we offered. We also do education, which is high school equivalents in English and Spanish, English as a second language. On Tuesday, we do tech. On Wednesday is building trades. And when I say building trades, construction, environmental remediation, building maintenance, plumbing, electrical, and other trainings. We also do the financial service. We partner with Bank of America to train individuals to work in the banking industrial. Employment is also on Thursday and on healthcare. Healthcare, we offer a hemodialysis training program, PCA, CNA. We work with 18 and over. Okay, 18 through 24 or 24 and over. We also keep track of these individuals that we place with employment. We have a retention of 365 days. Well, we're just not going to place you with a job. Besides placing you with a job, we follow up and we provide you with other support and resource. If you have any event going on, please invite St. Nick's Alliance, or if you know about any event. We are going to be part of the job fair on May 19. But if you have any event, please let us know so we could participate and spread the word of the good work that we're doing. And like I said, we focus in more in residents from Bushwick. Thank you.
Good evening again. I don't have to tiptoe this time. So Riseboro Community Partnership, as you all know, because we are in this community, we were born in this community, we exist in this community, has been around for 50 years, providing an ample array of services. And I didn't actually say my title, but I have to say it. I'm Chief Program Officer, so my responsibility, thank you, Ann, my responsibility is to oversee all of the program offerings that Riseboro operates. So I'll give you a quick rundown, and then I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, Andy Collado, who's going to really get into the weeds of the workforce development and the efforts that we are employing into this initiative because we're really excited about it. And I just have to say, when this idea was born, I was at that roundtable that was coordinated by Community Board 4. Thank you guys, because you're always on the forefront of everything Bushwick. And I thank you, Camacho, because you are the, I mean, I don't know what to call you sometimes, because you're the soldier, you're the general, you know, you're the nurse. You're like the everything out there. And it's actually very, it's a pleasure. And it's very admirable that you, who is the chair of this community board, is really out there, because you know I was on the board for 15 years. Wasn't my experience, not putting anyone down, but CB4 rocks. So I'm going to quickly run down the programs or give you an overview of the programs. We offer programs under the Empowerment Division, which is the division that is going to present today in workforce development. We provide homelessness prevention services, free legal representation for people that are being wrongfully evicted or folks that are just being evicted and need assistance in court for whatever reason. Sometimes, things happen and you need that extra bump, and that's what we're there for. We do it, and we do it well. You have to be patient, though, because we have a lot of clients, and sometimes we have a long waiting list, so it takes time, but we get there. We also, under the Empowerment Division, provide the benefits program, which does enrollments for one-shot deal on site, SNAP enrollment, Medicaid, and full public assistance, and that happens out of an office on 184 Wyckoff, right across the street from 217, which is the place that a lot of people know because it's housing, but I'm not here about housing. There's also the Education Division that operates a wonderful youth center on Gates Avenue. Many of you probably have traversed it on your way to either Myrtle or down to Knickerbocker or just in the area. And aside from the youth center, we provide after-school programs. Summer youth employment, we actually employ over 1,000 young adults every year through the Summer Youth Employment Program. And that is through a lottery as well, but many of the youth that apply are Bushwick residents. So thank you to all of you that promote the program and that motivate the kids to apply so that more Bushwick residents have the opportunity. We have education for adults, high school equivalency, adult literacy. We are also offering now, actually, we're going into our second year of the College in the Community program that is a college program right here in Bushwick. So you can attain your associate's degree right here at the Youth Center by Kingsborough Community College. Thank you. My colleagues, they're on the spot here. So if you want to find out more about that program, please feel free to reach out to Riseboro. You can call the Youth Center 381-8653, and that's 718. Aside from education services, we also provide home care. That's one of the programs that I oversee, the home care division that employs home health aides. So we currently employ, I think we're up to 1,200 home health aides, Randall. So we provide those services, and that is an employment opportunity, but it's also the opportunity to provide our older adults or folks with disabilities the ability to have personal care at home, personal care that is quality, that is with passion, that is with love, as anyone and everyone deserves when they're in that state or when we approach that age. I'm already there, but I ain't telling nobody. So, thank you. Thank you so much. You gotta tell my husband. Sorry, I do take long. So I went down education, empowerment, home care, and oh my goodness, I'm at Hope Gardens Older Adult Center. The senior services, we have 10 senior centers. This is one of them. We also operate a case management program that helps folks that are at home, that cannot come out, that are not ambulant, that need services. We connect them to the resources that they need so that they can remain vibrant and healthy and stay in the community and not go anywhere, and stave off institutionalization as far off as we can, as well as our Meals on Wheels program, which many of you know because you see the vehicles running down the street. So you know that that's us. I feel really happy when I see it. And that is in I think it is, all of our programs in a nutshell. But I'm going to pass it to Andy because now he's going to get into the thing of the Bushwick 1000 and what Bushwick Riseboro Community Partnership is doing. And I'm still Richard Bushwick. Can you tell I've been there for a long time? All right, Andy.
Thank you, everyone. So Maria did cover a lot of Riseboro. So I'm going to speak a little bit more specifically about what I do and what my team does. So my team is the Level Up Economic Empowerment Team. And we're comprised of a team of career coaches and financial coaches. So traditionally or historically, the financial coaching program at Riseboro worked exclusively with the tenants that were facing housing insecurity. So they'd be referred to us, and we help them get back on a stable financial foundation and build up from there, right, to build wealth over time. And a very obvious problem in many of our communities is that there is a floor to the expenses that you have. At some point, you get to cut in everything you can cut, and there's nowhere else to go, right? And the solution there is working on the opposite side of the budget, right? The income, where my career coaches come into play. And so we have cohort-based workforce career pathways. We have workshops both in financial coaching and career coaching in terms of career readiness. And most importantly, we work one-on-one with clients as well to guide them through that process, to take those values, align their goals to those values, and then figure out the best ways to access and use the resources available to them to achieve those goals. So right now, to highlight 3 of our programs, we have a fantastic one that is specifically for youth called Rising Stars. That one is aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds, and I call it more of a sustainable construction exposure program. The goal there is really to show the youth that there are many other jobs in the construction industry, particularly the sustainable construction industry, than just those who you might think of wearing hard hats. So every week, a different member of the industry will talk about what they do in their role, and then do hands-on projects. So as an example, today, we have they're working on skate parks. So members who have built skate parks with the city's parks department come in, talk to them about the process, about how they went from the conception of the idea to the conception of the project. And then at the second half of today's session, they're going to go to the skate park that's actually in Brownsville, right off of Broadway Junction, that these people actually helped build, and work with all those students to start planning and building their own small concrete models of skate parks. And so every week they're exposed to these industries, right, and to great people in the industries. And then if they show interest in continuing along that path, then we're looking to connect them to internships and to job potential. And some of those kids are obviously still in high school, so looking to help them continue their education and connect them to resources if they want to look in those fields as well. Talk to them about what's the difference between mechanical engineering and other types of engineering, et cetera. That's a fantastic program going on right now. We also have an NYSERDA funded training for sustainable building maintenance, looking to train community members to be porter, handy people, and work through that career pathway to become assistant superintendents, or perhaps tangent off to focus on plumbing or heating or HVAC. So there's a lot of great opportunities there, and then we connect them to those employment opportunities and help them beyond just getting a job. Because a very important part of our program is looking about long-term career planning. So once you get in the door, that's just step 1, right? We want to work with them all the way up to minimum that first annual review to prepare them for that, so that they can advocate for themselves at the workplace as well. And then we also have a program focused on youth that are criminal justice involved, and so that works a little bit more in the mentorship and education, and then also career readiness. But like I said earlier, a lot of our work is done one-on-one. So although we have certain career pathways there, we want to work and center the client, right? So if they want to do something else, we are working with them to figure out the best way to achieve that, right? What are your passions? What are you capable of? What's your capacity? And how can we match that to your career passions, right? And then look to see what that gap is in that skill gap and look to fill that up. So I think I covered everything there. So I'll pass it along to Evelyn. Thank you all.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I have to bring this up a little bit. But I'm not going to necessarily repeat because, like the organization shared what their core programs are. And OBT's been around now for at least 30 years here in this community. We've been around for 42 years and have been serving primarily the borough of Brooklyn. Over 70% of the people that we serve come from Brooklyn, and about 65% of that 70 come from the neighborhood of like Bushwick, East New York, Bed-Stuy, and Brownsville, right? So all like centering in this community here. But overall, just to kind of reemphasize something, so we focus primarily on young adults who are out of school and out of work, as well as adults who are underemployed and unemployed, and English language learners. And we serve about 1,500 individuals per year, and very similar to what you just heard, right? And as you can hear, there's a lot of similarities, and then some differences based on the communities that we're serving. And for us, just like our partners here, our main focus is to make sure that we're looking at where the demand is, right? So we hear, some folks talking about manufacturing, right? Like we've done light manufacturing, but for us at this current moment, right, construction is big, right? We see that there's a lot of opportunity there, and sustainability as well. So we also, just like our partners, are focusing on, renewable energy and sustainable construction jobs. We are a pre-apprenticeship as well, so we do work with a couple of the unions, and are continuing to develop those relationships. Another large employer is Con Edison, and our young people are, our focus and approach is to make sure that comprehensively we are not only offering employment training, like our partner said, but we're providing them case management. We give them paid stipends, paid internships, right? So they get paid the entire time that they're with us. We provide meals. Beyond that, we have clinical case, we have a whole clinical team, because what we are seeing with our young people is that mental health is a huge crisis. And it is impacting our youth. Many of them choose not to come to programs because of what's going on internally inside them, right? We know that there's a lot of substance use as well, which is a key thing that we also need to keep on top of and as well as justice involvement. We have healthcare programs as well as tech. So one thing I want to stress based on what you've heard, what is really important here is that what you hear is that you have now access to all these resources. We all have funding, right, where we get to braid it together with this additional funding to expand the opportunities that are available to the residents here. One thing I will tell you that is a challenge where we need this community to really step in and support is to make sure that people know that these services exist. No matter where I go, I've worked across the state, across the nation, providing support and bringing together the workforce system, which is employment training providers. People don't know that these services are here. And what's going on is that then they try to figure things out on their own. And we know what happens when people try to do that and when they're desperate. Where here we are with all these great offerings. So we do need you all to please help us. At the council member's office, Dom is the bomb.com, right? He's always out there, always trying to connect people to different opportunities and resources. So it's the same thing. We need everyone. We're talking about building owners. Hey, guess what? Let us go into your building and flyer. Right? That's going to be really important during this time in particular where we're trying to really get this initiative up and running. There's no way we're going to really meet that number if we're not all working together to do that. So with that said, want to say thank you, excited for what is ahead, and again, we cannot do this alone without you.
Okay, thank you so much to our partners for kind of just detailing the work that they do, the scope of services that they're offering. So, I want to be cognizant of time, but also to help us follow along. If you could just go on to the next slide, going on to the highlights. In the interim, I'm going to go just very briefly over the work that we did in between the first year, identifying these three organizations. And it's my hope after those three presentations that you understand why we selected those three organizations. They obviously have robust workforce training capacity and a long experience of not only community engagement, outreach in general, but also specifically community engagement for this specific community in this specific district. So the goal of that was to let you know why we partner with those 3 organizations. That's very important. As a agency, as an elected official's office, we are held to a certain standard, not just being, not picking our friends, not picking whoever's like most convenient, but picking who is going to deliver the best services for our constituents. So that is why we picked them, as you can see. Once we identified the 3 partners, we went into what is, sometimes a prolonged contract phase. It, again, owes to the fact that we're held to a standard. This is the public's money. We can't just use it without some manner of accountability and recording of deliverables and KPIs. We also just can't give it away to people. So we had to go through a process of writing out a contract, making sure that it passed muster, and that also went through the city comptroller. So that took us essentially from around the 8 months after May 2024 through kind of December of last year. December of last year, early January, are when the comptroller's office approved all 3 of the contracts. So these organizations, while they're working on one initiative together, each have their own separate contract. Just very briefly on just some of the deliverables for kind of the first year, but nothing too crazy. Month 1 and 2, we're just working together, getting this off the ground. So having these kind of conversations, meeting with you, meeting with folks to discuss kind of our projected plan over the year, figuring out how to coordinate 3 different organizations and how to coordinate 3 different kinds of outreach efforts, 3 different kinds of outreach styles, and 3 different kinds of intakes and information. We're still kind of building that out. I think this is the first time anything like this has been done, so we're figuring that out, really making that road as we walk it. One of our more immediate deliverables is launch. So this kind of serves the purpose of getting this out into the world. This is something I'll discuss in a little bit, but also like a first effort in coordinating our efforts, coordinating our outreach. Another thing that we have coming up is we have employment halls coming up for all of the organizations. We're thinking through what makes most sense. Do we do individual ones? Do we do things together? I think this is a place where the board can really, let us know what you think. I think Chair Camacho's gone to one. We're going to do another one in about 3 weeks. Let us know what it looks like. How do we best scale these efforts? I think we have our own ideas, but this is really where you can kind of weigh in. And we're really trying to think of hey, together, separate, what gets us the bigger net. Okay, so over to our highlights. Like I said, we launched this initiative April 7th. Over at 92 Throop. I think we had a pretty successful event. I think, Mr. Chair Camacho, you were there. We had a pretty robust turnout. I think we had a whole host of employers. It would probably take too long to go through that now, but if people have specific questions on who they were and the nature of the things that they did and the industries represented, we can go through that in Q&A. But I think we had a ton of employers there. We're getting ready for our next one. May 19th. This is also a lot of congrats and a lot of a debt of gratitude is owed to Chair Camacho for helping us coordinate the site. So May 19th, Hope Gardens Community Center at 422 Central will be our next engagement for this. So we'll have information for that coming up. That takes us into summer 2026. So after these 2 launches and after this set of hiring halls, these 3 organizations do this work anyway without us having specifically paid them for this initiative. So we're trying to find a way that for them to kind of leverage the processes and the strengths that they have. The way that's going to look in the summer is they're going to have ongoing outreach and recruitment efforts, really with the goal of getting people into employment and training pipelines in the fall. That kind of starts to set itself and to get into a longer process. Each one of those programs has its own kind of graduation and training deadline, which will lead us into winter 2026. When we're really kind of looking at a review and assessment. For full transparency, we have our own mid-year review as the Borough President's Office with the 3 organizations, but that's just kind of see where we are and seeing if we've been making our own timelines. Really kind of winners when we're really looking at things and figuring out, hey, are we on track? So again, the Borough President set kind of a pretty ambitious standard of 1,000 young people employed. This is a 4-year initiative. It's 250 people really kind of on their way to having a really solid job at the end of the year, which is not a guarantee. There's a lot that can happen. We could pass that. We could not. It's really kind of, it takes a great deal of work. So that's the reason why we're going to have these reviews. That's the reason kind of we're here before the board asking for help and why we're letting you all know. There will be opportunity for feedback throughout. All of our contact is on there, so if people just have ideas, or if you're going to our events and being like, this isn't up to it, or if you're going to our events and be like, this is really good, do more of that specifically, that's really helpful. So I think with that, we're through our briefing for Community Board 4 and on to just any questions that y'all might have.
Yeah, I just want to let, before you start, on there it says May 2025, it's supposed to be 26, so I don't want them to think that it already passed and y'all guys beat me up, but there's a typo on there. Please, it says May 2026, not 25, it already passed.
That's on me, sorry about that.
I had a question about workforce development because there's a special issue that I personally am going through, and a lot of older people. We're getting older, we've had our careers, a lot of layoffs, especially at senior levels. Is there any kind of program for us?
So there's a program called Easter Seals that so there are programs. So our programs, for instance, like we work with individuals, anyone above the age of 18, right, that needs employment, and we provide, just like St. Nick's, we do direct job placement. For anyone that comes in through the door that is in need of employment. There's also a program called Easter Seals, which had lost their funding federally, but finally has regained its footing again. And we take on interns, for instance, from Easter Seals. So they actually pay you to get on the job, retrain again, and potentially then get employed by that internship provider. So you can also look into Easter Seals as well.
Okay, then I have one more question for Riceboro. There's the issue of these new mandates for people that are on Social Security and stuff. I'm having an issue with a neighbor downstairs. She just had her leg amputated, and they've taken all of her Social Security and her food stamps, claiming she got to come into the office. So I need you guys' help with her. They're telling her she's got to come into the Social Security office now, and this woman has been homebound for 15 years. She just had her leg chopped off. She can't go anywhere.
I'll connect with you.
Anyone else? Let me go over here,
Chair
then I go
Camacho,
there.
If I may, yeah, I have a direct response to, I think, just the questions you have generally around workforce and employment for older workers, mature workers. There's a lot of terms that are being used right now. So this is something that the borough president identified a few months ago, especially with everything we were learning from the decisions of the Trump administration. So our policy department has been working on something over the last few months. I think your liaison, Madeline Enlow, here has that in her talking points, but I'll just talk about it really quickly. One of the first things that we're going to do as we're trying to solve this issue, we're doing an event later on in the year. I think the flyer should be flagged there, but it's essentially addressing the workforce requirements and the SNAP benefits. We're framing it as how to hold on to your SNAP benefits. I think we also need to be creative in how we do this event with funding and all that to make sure that it passes. But the idea is to do a few things. I think people of a certain age, we're getting a lot of feedback saying, hey, I just want to be involved anyway. Everything with the Silver Corps or finding another career pathway wherever they are. And then there's also people hey, I need to pass this new means testing. How do I hold on to that? So we're having a pretty big day-long event to specifically talk about that. That's not Bushwick specific. It's not part of the Bushwick 1000, but that's something that we're doing borough-wide. So I'll leave it to Madeline to let you know a little bit more about that.
We have a question here.
Hi, just a brief comment, totally separate from the rezoning application, but everybody who comes before the Housing and Land Use Economic Development Committee, we always ask them, especially if they have businesses, to connect with all the various jobs programs that we have. We've just heard this wonderful presentation, and again, zero relationship to the rezoning application. Let me be very clear on that. But we really hope that as good neighbors, which is what you want to be and we want you to be and we want to be to you, that there is a very robust back and forth, especially when you're looking for new employees, especially young people from the neighborhood. Thank you.
Hi, Zach Hendrickson, Community Board 4. One question, then a comment. My question is maybe a little bit more in the weeds than you're prepared for, and that's fine if so, but you mentioned sort of developing KPIs and sort of data management, which I know can be confusing, but right, as has been mentioned, all of your programs are incredible. Your organizations are already serving thousands of people, right, every single year. And so sort of just from an impact question, I'm curious if $150,000 is going towards this every year in discretionary funding, and you're already serving thousands of people, which is above the benchmark that we set, right? How are we really making sure that this additional influx of funding is reaching like new people, the target people, and like we just had these career fairs. Like, so how are we tracking folks as they move through the various touch points to be like, oh, actually the stuff that we're doing is working, is not just like an influx of people into these programs who would have already been coming to begin with?
I mean, I think, so just to, and Maria, you can come in. So we are, so one thing is that we are specifically focusing in on like Bushwick, right? So I shared with you that we serve people citywide, right? Like, so one thing that is really important is to make sure that we're keeping not are we only taking in individuals, we're tracking them for up to a year. Right, so that's the other additional component to this. And we each are using, like, so we use Salesforce, for instance, and we're keeping track of and like each of us have our data systems that we use. So part of what we are talking about is like, how do we run our reports, look at how people are faring in the community specifically, right? So I think we want to make sure, because, you know, we think it's $150,000, and really what it's paying for is perhaps for an additional staff member, right, to support those efforts. So that's why I said that we're braiding the resources at the end of the day. And, you know, like even the funding that we get citywide is not enough, right? So these additional services will help us amplify and like bring in more capacity to really serve the clients the way that they need to, right? So that, and each organization has a very different approach, as you heard, right? Even though we're providing workforce services, but we're actually like the largest workforce providers in the borough as well, right? So I think that in that regard, you know, like we have the capacity to run the numbers and provide the KPI data. And, you know, like in terms of the actual event, like that just happened, you know, we are like at this very moment following up with employers to see, right? Because it's not enough, you know, in terms of the job seeker that came in, right? So we have who actually came in and applied, but also in addition to that, it's following up with the employer to see what the next step is going to be as well. So that's part of what we're doing at this very current moment in terms of just doing the follow-ups to see who got interviewed or not.
If I may, just to add to her comment. So just want to be clear that it is $150,000, but it's $150,000 across the 3 organizations, so it's split evenly per organization. So we're not each getting $150, just to be clear on that. And also, when we speak to data and KPIs and how to track what the metrics are that are going to be used or employed to demonstrate the impact that this program is actually having, well, as she said, $50,000 per organization, but it really doesn't stretch that far. So we have actually had to put our heads together to strategically think about how to apportion this allocation of this funding so that it can add value to the services that we are already providing, as you mentioned. So part of that is data analytics. So we do have a data analyst that works specifically at the Empowerment Division, but some of that person's time is going to be dedicated to specifically tracking the numbers in Bushwick. And I do want to add that we do provide these services, but we're not specifically funded to do workforce development only in 11237 and 21 and 06. It's more of an expanded geography, but this effort is specific to Bushwick. Therefore, there is an added focus, an extra effort made to focus just in these zip codes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the question, again, with much appreciation, I thank you for getting into the weeds there, just to really provide some more insight. My other comment is really just regarding this summer. I mean, Bushwick, everyone is always outside, right? Like we're out in the parks, we're in plazas, we're on the street, there's, you know, block parties, there's all these different things going on. And so I just want to give that push. You know, places inside and closed are great, and I know a lot of times logistically that's like what makes the most sense. But as I'm sure you all know, right, like underemployed and unemployed folks, right, like not always going to know like where to go. And so I just want to give that extra push to like really seize the initiative this summer with so many incredible programs happening all over the neighborhood. That just seems like a really prime opportunity to kickstart this first year of this great initiative. So.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Right here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elaine Hamilton, born and raised here in Brooklyn, Bushwick. and I'm a community board member. So I wrote down the question that I have here for you guys, and thank you so much for sharing the initiative, the project, and all the details. As you move into the summer outreach, right, and go into the fall pipeline, what gaps do you see when it comes to engagement and access? And part of that question is, are you open to partnership, community partnership, and different people within the community to come in and fill in those gaps?
I think we are all in agreement that we need to partner with all of the community organizations in order to be successful in this endeavor. It's a ambitious goal, 1,000 young adults from Bushwick. And the gaps are actually the gaps that many of us here are trying to fill. Therefore, it's going to take a village. And that's what we hope to accomplish, that everyone that can join this effort, please do so. And we're happy to work with anyone who is willing to partner with us and lend a hand.
I got one here.
Well, just to follow up with that real quick. In terms of specific engagement, I think one of the biggest challenges that many organizations are facing now is finding the most effective means of communication, especially with youth. You know, if I were to ask everyone here 20 years ago how many ways were there to contact you, it might be like 3, right? But now there are probably more than 3 apps on your phone that different people can contact you with, right? And so, you know, thinking really creatively and getting feedback from the community as to what is the way you're seeing working with the youth in Bushwick and getting in contact with them, right? So that we can try to replicate those efforts or get people in front of us, right? The first part is the impression, right? The getting them to hear us out. And the next part is really figuring out how to make sure that they stay engaged and are responding to follow-ups, right? And so that's where the community really comes into play. And we always look forward to partner with everyone. I mean, we partner with each other here, right? We don't have financial services training, so guess who I send them to when they're interested in that, right? St. Nick's. So and that's the only way we can really build massive exponential impact is by working together to maximize on the gaps that each of us have. So that together, we cover everything. Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing? And you guys got to rein me in because I don't like to use the mic and then you got to kick me off. I dated myself a little while ago when I gave a phone number to reach the youth center. And I completely forgot that this is 2026, www.riseboro.org, right? And one of the gaps is that sometimes we forget to use social media to reach the younger adults. And so if there are any influencers in the room, or if you know any influencers, we need you because we need to spread the word because apparently that's what the youth are paying attention to. And this is what's driving and motivating them. So perhaps it ain't me because you heard me. I use a phone number.
We got one more here, then we're going to call it, if anybody on Zoom.
Hi, Millie, community board member. It's 3 organizations, correct? With 1,000 jobs, correct?
The goal of employing 1,000 jobs within 4 years.
1,000 as a whole.
Right.
Not 1,000 each.
Right. Right. I have it here divided by 3 orgs, right? 1,000 divided by 3 orgs. For 4 years. And you guys are getting each 150,000? 50,000 each? What are they going to get paid?
What is it going to what?
No, it's for the organization.
Oh, 50, so it's 50,000 for the each organization.
They're not hired by the orgs and the money that it was given through. Right. Sorry about that. So the employment isn't for them to be employed by the 3 organizations, and the funding that was allocated isn't like their salaries or anything like that. This is to put them into employment from the employer list we had, city jobs, things like that. So they are not hiring them themselves.
Training.
So you guys are only training them.
So no, we're training, right? we're providing supportive services, and in addition to that, we are also placing them and like retaining, making sure that we focus on retention so that they actually retain the job for at least 6 months.
We have a last one here, and then we're gonna call it.
Cindy LeBron, CB4. I just wanted to know that since you're trying to engage with the youth, have you ever been to any of the schools and partnered with the PTA and do workshops in the schools?
And the response for those over Zoom is that yes, we do.
If I can just add to that. Oh, well.
I just wanted to say one thing, and we also use the social media, TikTok, because let's be real, all these young adults are more into TikTok, Facebook. So we notice that when we do an outreach, we get more individuals coming in through the TikTok. So, yes. And we go to different schools to do outreach. We facilitate, yes, we do. And you got to understand that most of the training programs that we offer, we provide them with certifications that's going to get them a job. It's going to get them a career. Like construction, we help them get the OSHA 40, the scaffold, the site safety. So these are certifications that are going to help them get a job, besides getting transportation and stipend. So we provide them with all the support that they need in order to get employment. Thank you.
Paulo, if I can just add, because it's relevant to what Cindy just said, I just wanted to add to that, because part of my comment was, at the high schools, I know that at least some of them have student governance models, and so my suggestion would be to, if it has yet to happen, engage with those models and hear directly from the youth, right, on how to connect with them. So just, since we're talking about filling the gaps and making sure that we're all connected.
Yeah, Pablo Rivera, Community Board 4. I just want to thank St. Nick's Alliance because they allow us to be co-locators this past winter. Us at Bushwick Sports and Recreation, and our kids were able to do baseball training during the winter. Thank you.
I also, before we end it, we're going to end this now. I just want to let y'all know, I was a product myself. Dropped out of high school, went to alternative high school. I joined the Kobe program. There was a program back in Delancey, and I took a training course. But sometimes when you have and you get a job and a new job, and you just got it and you're scared and you're young, and you're trying to hold on to it. Getting up in the morning and working and then going home, it's a stepping stone. It ain't especially if our kids aren't used to that, and mama's home trying to work and it's hard, and she's, so we really have to motivate our young kids that's why they themselves are saying we're going to monitor them, because anything can happen between that day of employment and the last year to make sure that they can continue on the job. Sometimes people might not like the job. They're doing it because their parents are forcing them to go out. Am I right? Like my dad says, oh, don't get a college degree, go get a job like we did. He thought we were back in the 60s. But we want our kids to do better, and sometimes these jobs with Con Edison, I remember I worked as a meter reader, and then in '84 there was a strike, and since I was the first one employed, I was the last one out. So we want to make sure that these jobs are the jobs that the kids can keep, and make sure it's good working jobs, and also the construction, making sure that Section 3 workers that there. So I just wanted to add that, and thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our public hearing for this evening. I will take this opportunity to make a brief announcement about these handouts, Better Public Meeting Scorecard, which should be on most of the tables. If your table does not have one, please use a neighboring table's copy. We are partnering with the Civic Engagement Commission. Do we have a rep here? Do you want to give a quick blurb, really, at the mic in the front?
I normally don't clock nobody, only because you see.
Yeah, this is a special collaboration with the Civic Engagement Commission. We signed up for this.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm here on behalf of the Civic Engagement Commission, and we're doing a project with the National Civic League to try to improve public meetings. So it would be really amazing if you all could just scan this QR code. It's totally anonymous. It should take 5 minutes, and it's just about how this meeting went and how you think public meetings could go better. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Lula O'Donnell.
Great, we are now moving on to our regular meeting. It is 7:39. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, the only thing I wanted to add is if anyone wants some help filling out the survey, let me know.
Thank you. We specifically asked for that. We know that not everybody has access to a smartphone that can scan a QR code. Is this public hearing related?
It's related to what was just shared.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Elaine Hamilton here again, Community Board 4. So what was just shared by the people that just talked earlier, I just wanted to connect really quick. That's actually connects to something that I'm working on, which I shared with you before, in reference to the human option, the partnerships, we have sponsors and things like that. So I'll definitely be following up with them in reference to inviting panelists and different sponsors into.
All right, thank you.
Right, the first roll call. Can someone pass me the attendance sheet? Thank you. And thanks for everyone for signing in. Isa Abney. Joanna Bennett has resigned. Robert Camacho.
Present.
Felix Ceballos. Andrew Choi. Freddie Fowler did not renew. Alan Gamboa. Jason Gares. Okay. When he comes back, he can say present. Christopher Graham is excused. Ann Guiney. Elaine Hamilton. Zachary Hendrickson. Courtney Henley. Deborah Hicks. Are you able to promote her to panelist? Okay, she wasn't able to join at all. Okay, she requested to be excused, got it. Thank you, Christian. Tanisha Honeygan also did not renew. Barbara Jackson. Thank you, Barbara. Virgie Jones. Tara Jones Thomas. Luisa Jose. Giovanni Justiniano. Nancy Keith. Cindy LeBron. Christine Malden. Ramika Nichols Barnes. Zuma Navoa.
Present.
Thank you, Z. Cirilo Nunez. Thank you. Sherry Richardson is excused. Pablo Rivera. Raul Rubio. Eliseo Ruiz. Josue Salazar is excused. Milagros Sandoval. Juan Serra. Annette Spellin. B. Spiederman. James Stewart. Christian Tate. Savannah Tays. Ben Tucker. And Jerry Valentine did not renew. Linda Whitfield. All right. Let's see. I see Jason. Jason, can you say present? Thank you. All right. Let me do the tally. Hopefully we have 27. That 27 constitutes a quorum. Thank you. Did you remove the remote waivers, Mr. Camacho, because they don't count? You removed them? Okay. Just the one in person. Okay. Thank you. All right. 27 is a quorum. Thank you, folks. Thank God. All right. Acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion? Oh, Annette beat you to it, Raul. Do you want a second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion? Raul Rubio makes a motion. James seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And now we have our annual election of executive board officers. And last year we had, I know folks, I know we're going to get through it fast because guess what? We have another guest MC that some of you may know. And I'm going to make sure she has an opportunity to introduce herself. So if you want to come up, let's welcome back Melissa Carrera Solano, former CB4 member.
Give me your bag. Ain't nobody gonna take your bag. Get your friend's bag.
All right, so go ahead.
Can I sit? Is that okay? Okay. Good evening, y'all. It's good to be back. I've missed many of you. When Celeste called me, I was like, yes, I'll do it. I'm coming. Get me out of my nighttime routine. I have 2 kids now, so life looks very different in the evening for me. But happy to be here. Thank you, Celeste and Mr. Camacho, and all of you for the warm welcome. As you know, it is that time of year again, the nomination summary for the 2026 to 2027 Executive Office elections. So I'm going to name all of the positions, the nominees, who accepted, who declined, and then one at a time. All right, so position nominees for first vice chairperson, we have Ann Guiney, who respectfully declined. Zachary Hendrickson, TBD. We did not hear from Zachary. It says TBD on here. You accepted, Zachary? Okay, Zachary accepted. Pablo Rivera accepted. Raul Rubio accepted. Thank you. Milagro Sandoval declined. Christian C. Tate accepted. The annual nomination for elections, yes. This was for first vice chairperson. Second vice chairperson, or first? Any nominations from the floor? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Yes, just 2 people. You get to vote on 2.
Volunteers to help pass out these ballots to board members. Yeah, just, Mr. Camacho, if you want to share them. So the candidates who accepted were Zach and Christian, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Zach said no.
Zach said no.
Okay, take the ballots back. Take the ballots back. Take it back.
No, but Pablo Rivera accepted.
Okay, who else? So then...
And Raul Rubio accepted as well.
So there are 3. Does everyone else still want to put their hat in the ring? Raul just declined. Pablo, do you still accept or do you decline? Okay, so pass out the ballots, folks, to board members. Pablo and Christian.
Pablo and Christian, yes. So you're either voting for Pablo Rivera or Christian C. Tate.
Yeah, so for this one, we have Milagros and Christian, and then they declined TBD, so I'll ask Zachary. He accepted all of them. Okay, so I'll update that, and then not eligible. Okay, cool. And
No, it's only the board members. Please raise your hand. Only the board members.
When you finish, please just fold it. You don't have to fold it so many times. Folding it in half is sufficient, and just bring it up or hand it to one of the volunteers. But you can just place them all on the table here. We'll start a little pile.
I'll remind everyone. We have Christian Tate, Pablo Rivera, and Raul Rubio. Is that correct? Or did he rescind? Okay. So just Pablo Rivera and Christian Tate.
I missed the library.
These are the best. It's so good to see you. Of the year.
Certify it, and then I'm going to take it to this, and no one's going to contest this election. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Can we find some more votes?
Yep, all right, so I will be reading the ballots, and folks can keep a tally.
Hello?
Mr. Camacho's volunteered to keep a tally. So Christian, Pablo, Christian, 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 Pablo, Christian, Pablo, Pablo, Christian, 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 Pablo, Christian, 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 and Pablo. What is the result?
19-6.
19-6, Christian. Congratulations. Thank you both.
All right. Next up, we have the second vice chairperson. The nominees are Ann Guiney, who declined, Zachary Henderson, accepted, decline. Okay. Decline. Raul Rubio, decline. Milagro Sandoval, accepted, and Christian Cite can no longer accept because now he is the first chairperson, so the seat goes on to Milagros.
So we technically need our recording secretary to cast a vote, but we don't have a recording secretary. So yeah, we need our treasurer to with the mic.
James Stewart moves to close the nomination for Milagro Sandoval, second vice chair. I cast a vote, one vote for Milagro Sandoval for second vice chair.
Congratulations. All right. Next up, we have recording secretary. The nominees are Felix Ceballos. Did you accept or decline, Mr. Ceballos? Decline. Okay, thank you. Andrew Ramos Choi, accepted. Zachary Hendrickson, accepted. Respectfully declining. Okay. Virgie Jones, declined. Eliseo Ruiz, accepted. Raul Rubio, declined. James Stewart, accepted. Okay. And Ben Tucker declined. So currently we have Andrew Ramos Choi and Eliseo Ruiz. Can you go back? I guess. Mr. Ceballos is back.
All right. For the record, I would like to say Andrew is currently assisting with this responsibility, even without withholding the title. I'd also like to say that this position actually requires work, reviewing the board's meeting minutes. So I will leave that there.
All right. We're going to hand out those ballots now. So you have, the candidates are Andrew Ramos Choi, Eliseo Ruiz, and Felix Ceballos. So the candidates are Felix Ceballos, Andrew Ramos Choi, and Eliseo Ruiz.
Why are you switching out? What happened?
Okay, well, I talked to Barbara yesterday, and I was trying to make the decision on my lunch break. And then I was like, all right, just say yes to all of them. And I'll sort it out. I'll do it live. I was just like, say yes, I'll figure it out.
In the moment, yeah.
What you said I do when I get there?
Isa, how are you? Good to see you. How's it going? No.
You sure?
I miss it. I miss this part of it, but I don't know. I think something nice. I miss the Tuesday. I do miss them. I miss the energy. Sometimes I'm like,
you should come say hi.
I should come. I'm gonna pop in one day.
All right. I believe we have the last, coming in, the last of the ballots. Thank you for everyone volunteering to pass them out and collect them. We can grab the one from over there as well. Thank you, thank you. We'll count them as we tally, Camacho, so we could just get through this a little bit faster. All right. So, Andrew, Felix, Eliseo, Andrew, 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 Eliseo, 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 Felix, 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 Andrew, 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 Felix, Andrew, Eliseo, 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 and Andrew. 14, 7, and 5. Congrats, Andrew. Thank you all.
Who won? All right, congratulations to Andrew. All right. Last nomination is for treasurer. Felix Ceballos, you are TBD. Are you accepting or declining? Accepting. Okay. Mr. Ceballos is accepting his nomination for treasurer. James Stewart declined, and Christian C. Tate can't accept, so the treasurer has to make the motion. Any nominations from the floor? Once, twice, 3 times. No nominations? Okay.
James Stewart casts 1 vote for Felix Ceballos for treasurer.
Congratulations, Mr. Ceballos. All right. No, we have one more. I had to turn the page over. For parliamentarian. So the nominees are Isa Abney, who declined. Joanna Bennett, not eligible. Andrew Choi declined. Zachary Hendrickson accepted. All right, he's in.
Yo, man. This one has to follow. Wait. Wow, man.
All right.
Oh, you got something, huh?
Cindy LeBron, who declined. Milagros can't accept but also declined. James Stewart accepted. Ben Tucker declined. And then we have a not sure. Who's not sure? Okay.
So someone entered not sure on the form, and so I have to document everything that's entered into the form.
All right, so the two nominees for parliamentarian are Zachary Hendrickson and James Stewart. Anyone else want to nominate on the floor? Once, going twice, going 3 times. All right. We're voting for parliamentarian, either Zachary Hendrickson or James Stewart. Yes, I can repeat the names. So the nominees are Zachary Hendrickson and James Stewart. Yes. Can James and Zachary stand up so folks can see you? That's.
He's Jack. Oh, Zach. I know. Jack.
I take it, oh, we have the last ones coming in. All right. Oh, nope, we have a couple of more coming in. This is the last one, folks. We're almost through. Thank you. Right here. All right. We have all of the ballots. Please be ready to tally. James. 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 Zach. James. Zach. James. 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 Zach. Zach. James. Zach.
Tally.
Zach. 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 James.
Tally.
James. James. Zach. James. James. James.
Tally.
James. James.
That's it. 5, 10, 15, 17, 9.
17 to 9. Thank you both.
Congratulations, James. And that is a closing to our 2026-2027 Executive Officer elections. Thanks, everyone.
We will move on now. Thank you, Melissa, for being here. And I'm going to ask for the board members to quietly help themselves to a meal this evening. Once board members finish, we welcome the public to help themselves. And we will also give our council member, thank you for being here and bearing with us as we get through this meeting. We welcome you to give some remarks. Let's welcome the council member.
Come on, clap for your council member, man. She's the only one that's always here. I gotta beat mine up.
Other people be coming. Don't get me in trouble. I'm going to be loud because I know folks are getting food, and I know it is getting late. I'm so sorry. I should have checked the agenda before I came. First of all, congratulations to the new board leadership. I know you all are going to do a great job, and I'm really grateful to see you all. I haven't been to CB4 in a little bit. This is the first time my schedule is permitted. So I'm going to get to the point so that you all can carry on with your agenda. One, we've been hounding you all evening to fill out the ballots. Thank you, because I think everybody has filled out a ballot, and maybe some of you filled out multiple, but that's okay. This isn't that serious. We're not rigging elections. This is all about getting community projects that all of you already proposed, so you're just going to pick your top 3. Jen's team and my team have been working out in the neighborhood, asking people to pick the projects. Each year we put $1 million aside in capital funding. It's called participatory budgeting. You all get to propose the projects that you think we should put the money in, and then you vote on the ones that you want to see. So you have until Sunday to vote. Please ask people to vote. There's a QR code. We'll put it back there. There's a card like this that has a QR code. You put in your information in terms of your address, and it takes you to the right district, and then you can pick your thing. So make sure your people at home, your peoples on your block, pick your projects. Okay, it's budget season. We are in the middle of budget season, and in May is when there are going to be public hearings for the executive budget. So if you didn't get a chance to listen in to any of the committee hearings with around certain topics that are really interesting to you, May is going to be a whole month of public hearings at the council where you get to advocate for the things you want. If you want to go to the Parks Committee, Transportation Committee, Housing Committee, Health Committee, all of the things that we care about here in the neighborhood, there is a public hearing space for you to give your feedback on what you think is important to be investing in. If you want to know how to sign up or how to register to testify, you can reach out to my office and we will walk you through the steps on how you can participate. This is how you raise your voice. This year we're facing very, very serious budget deficits, so a lot of critical decisions are going to be made. It's important that we are very clear on what the priorities are for CB4. So make sure you reach out to me. In terms of our budget this year, every year we've worked with the community board looking at the capital district needs. We've been able to, in the past, knock some stuff out of the park. We've got $4 million playground coming to Irving Park. That was on your list. We've got money set aside for the sewer upgrades. That's in the works. We got the dog run, which I know that wasn't on the district capital needs, and I know that was contentious, but it's funded and it's happening. So we're moving forward. This year, one of the things that we've worked on for the last 3 years that we've started to chip away at is one of your big capital project needs, which is the Broadway corridor. Those of you who drive down Broadway and your car's getting beat up and you're swerving around all those weird potholes know that a portion of Broadway is concrete. It's not the blacktop asphalt. It's $110 million to scrape that concrete off and put it into black asphalt, which allows it to be resurfaced every 10 years. So what's happening on Linden Street right now, they raked off all the blacktop. They're resurfacing that. They do it every 10 years for every street. They can't do that on a big section of Broadway corridor because it's concrete. So that's why you see little patches of asphalt all over it. So we've been working on that for years. This year, our congressional representatives actually brought some money home to start the project. So we've been writing our congressional reps, the governor, everybody who will listen for the last 3 years, begging for money. Our Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez brought home $1.8 million. She's going to do a big announcement later on. Hakeem Jeffries brought $1.8 million to DOT, so that gets us some seed money. As I told you, the project is $110 million. We need about 12 to 15 million just for them to design the project. So that's our goal, is to get the $12 million this year. I'm committing $1 million. The borough president has said he's chipping in, and we're working with the rest of our council delegation here in Brooklyn, as well as trying to advocate to others to bring the rest of that money back. We're going to be doing a rally, I believe on the 29th of April. We'll send out stuff to everybody. We want to make it very clear to the city that we want this to be a priority. This has been on y'all's list for a very, very long time, so we're going to try to do something and bring the community together and get a bunch of camera crews out here and shame the DOT into doing the project. So we hope you join us. We're looking forward to that. And lastly, just a couple other things. Lastly, thank you to everyone who came to our DSNY DOT Town Hall. We had about 30 cases come up. Everyone who came, if you gave us a blue card or you filled out the form, you should have a voicemail or an email. That our team has reached out to every single person, and those are in the works. I saw that some of the stuff around Myrtle Wyckoff, there was some barricades. Those have been cleaned up. Some other things have been worked on. Some derelict cars are being ticketed and tagged, so hopefully those things will move forward. But just want to thank everybody for participating, and we want to keep doing more of those town halls where we bring the agencies so you can directly yell at them and help us yell at them to do their jobs. And lastly, to piggyback, well, not to piggyback, but an additional opportunity for job seekers. We're having our job fair on May 16th at the Riseboro Youth Center. We did it last May. We've done one every single year. Hundreds and hundreds of people have participated. The organizations that were here with the 1,000 jobs have participated each year, so we're hoping that that's another opportunity for them to get some job seekers in the works. So I'll stop there. Happy to answer a few questions. I know it's late. I just try to do the highlights, but very happy to represent. Yeah.
Wait. Hi, Annette Spellin, Community Board 4. You mentioned the replacement of the sewers. Are we talking about in Bushwick?
Yes. So it was a part of the City of Yes deal. We negotiated to get the money. $354 million is the cost of the project to do the sewer upgrades here in Bushwick. It's going to be, you guys are all going to hate it because it's going to be a really long project, and they're going to rip up all the roads, and everybody's going to be mad. But it's going to stop the flooding. So I'm just reminding everybody that everyone's going to be annoyed. But it's a big deal, and it's in the pipeline. I believe did they come and present to you all yet? Not yet. Okay, so we'll follow up with the new DEP commissioner to do a presentation to Community Board 4, but they have had a DEP town hall within the last 2 years where they went over the project and kind of showcased how large it will be.
Annette Spellin again. Just so that you know, and because she said that it's going to be a long project and people are going to be upset, I happen to be one of the people whose house was infected by the bad sewage that was coming in. And when I called the city, they were going to tell me that I had to get a plumber to come in and take care of it. I talked to my neighbor, and she says, yeah, you get a plumber if you want to. It's going to cost you $5,000 to $6,000 to do it. I end up getting a plumber to come in and put in a filter. And the water that comes into my house now has to be filtered, and I have to change it every 3 months. I call the city. They're going to tell me they can't do anything until there's water dripping in my house. But meanwhile, I got a filter that's full of black soot. They finally came back, and they ran the fire hydrant. The water is a lot better, but I still have to change the filters. That's why I was very concerned about the whole sewer thing. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, the sewers worked, there's a phrase that one of my colleagues says, the sewers worked good for 100 years. And now the rainfall levels that we're experiencing at the speed in which rain falls and the volume, it doesn't work anymore. So across the city, we just need bigger sewers to accommodate heavier rainfall that's happening faster than our system can absorb it. Seeing no other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on now. The next item on our agenda was the parliamentarian's note. We know that Ms. Bennett is not with us. She resigned due to health reasons, so I ask that you all keep her in your thoughts. As far as we know, she's doing okay. We let her know that we are here for her if she needs us, but it's always important to put yourself first, because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others. So it's very important. I've had these conversations with board members over time. We all know a lot of people want to serve, but we need you whole and healthy in order to be here. So.
Yeah, I myself spoke to her and told her if she needed anything. She wasn't too strong, but she's taking care of her health, so we want to make sure and wish her the best. And before I even say, there was a chair, CB17, board member, chairperson for he passed away, and also the young baby on Williamsburg that was someone's baby. You know, it's sad. I got 7 grandkids. I got a 15-month-old, God forbid. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them and the family, and we got to do better. All of us, we all have to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Just as a light note in the spirit of Ms. Bennett, just say your name, board members, when in doubt, just say your name. Whether you're present, whether you're making a motion, you want to speak, just remember to always say your name. And I would say that for folks, too, that are new to the meetings, whenever you are choosing to speak on the microphone, it is really helpful when it comes to reporting, but also for folks to get to know each other. I still have board members that tell me that they don't know who's on the board, and so I think it does make a difference, and I appreciate Ms. Bennett always emphasizing that. I hear board members saying it in meetings now, so I know that she's had an impact, and we appreciate her for that. And now we will move on to the 83rd Precinct report. Deputy Inspector.
Good evening, everyone. Deputy Inspector Maffey, 83rd Precinct Commanding Officer. Before I get started, Mr. Camacho did mention in 1984 he was reading meters. Mr. Camacho, you don't want to know what I was doing in 1984, okay? I just got here, let's say, okay. So, brief update from the last meeting. Last time we gathered, approximately a month ago, Avante Garden was mentioned, a new nightclub space. So I did reach out to the newly hired security president or security leader for that location. I'm planning to meet with him. So we'll exchange information. I'm going to try to be well-versed and well updated what's going on at that location after I meet with that person. It was also mentioned that we were experiencing package thefts. So it was mentioned to possibly do an operation called Empty Box, which is where we live like a dupe, a fake package. We did do 2 operations called Empty Box. They were met with negative results, but we're going to stay at it because we are seeing package theft within the community. Just to get to the crime update. So since we've last met, unfortunately, we've had 3 incidents of firearms-related violence within the command. All 3 of those incidents resulted in no injuries. All 3 of those incidents were not related to each other. All 3 of those incidents have been closed to arrest. So 18 Stanhope, 162 Covert, and 1530 Broadway all experienced firearm violence where a shot was fired. But as I mentioned, no one was injured. As I mentioned, they're not connected to each other. And as I mentioned, we all have arrests for all of those locations. They were neighbor disputes, and there was a road rage incident. We're still seeing our success with our robbery efforts and the arrests we made a few weeks ago. Robberies are down in the community, 14%. That's very telling considering last year robberies were down a record low of a decade. So robberies are down. Our burglaries, 5 more than what we had this time last year. But the good thing is we very much isolated and identified 3 key individuals that are committing most of our burglaries. 2 of them were arrested several weeks ago. They're still in custody. 1 of them we're currently looking for. There's a warrant out for their arrest. We will find that person. I will confer with the DA and try to have them remain inside. Domestic violence crime is up, but all of those are domestic violence incidents have arrests regarding them. Retail theft is down for the month and for the entire year. So we're doing very, very well with retail theft within the command. Something we're struggling with is our grand larcenies. And when I took a further look at it, car brakes are big, okay? Definitely have to leave your cars locked. Definitely don't want to leave anything that looks valuable, visible in your car. But other than car brakes, we saw a few bar club pickpocket / leaving bag unattended, not as much as we were seeing before. We had 5 in the last month, but the biggest thing that stood out was scams. So we had quite a few scams that occurred within the command within the last month. One of them was an immigration scam. One of them was a bank scam, a car registration scam, an apartment scam, sending photos scam, and a gig job scam. So I'm going to briefly just explain all those, and then if there's any questions after, I'll take them. So immigration scam, this person was offering immigration services, okay? The bank scam, your bank account has been compromised. You have an issue with your account, with your card, okay? Car registration, some type of backdoor way to register your car over the phone, okay? Apartment scam, send me money for this apartment that you found online, okay? Photo scam, you're sending photos of yourself, and then someone else is responding to you saying, if you don't pay me money, those photos are going to be sent out to all your friends and family, okay? And gig job scam. With the photos, people send suggestive photos to strangers sometimes, right? I don't know if that's ever going to end in this day and age. However, possibly not sending a photo of your face, because then the threat of, I'm going to send this compromised photo to everyone you know, well, there's no face shot, right? So maybe something to consider. Apartment scam, I would definitely double check if that apartment is actually available through another source, especially before you start sending money. Those can get very, very intricate. They're hard to track down the perpetrator also. The gig job scam, this is very interesting. So you do some type of gig work, photography, music, graphic design, something like that, and someone reaches out to you and they hire you. Here's $6,000. I want you to make me this flyer for this event I have, right? Great. You just got a side gig, whatever. Day or two goes by, week goes by. Hey, sorry, the event got canceled, but I did hire you, so I mailed you a check for $6,000. Just send me back $3,000 and keep $3,000 for yourself, right? So you're like, oh, sure, no problem, right? That check, when you deposit it, is bogus. So the bank will give you money to send out, but that check never clears, all right? So anytime we're depositing checks from any source, I would say, I would always wait until that check is cleared before you act as if you have that money, okay? Because they're sending you a check for $6,000, and then you're sending them back $3,000. Meanwhile, you just lost $3,000 because that check didn't exist, okay? That's something new I saw. And then the bank scams, if someone calls you, pretending to be your bank, right, that's fine. I'll call you right back and get a different, don't take any phone numbers from these people. Research it through another source, and then call the bank like that. Don't believe anyone. Oh, so we have an issue? All right, I'm going to reach out to the bank right now. I'll call. Oh, no, talk to me. No, I'm going to call the bank. All right. When in doubt, never send cash, and gift cards are cash. So when in doubt, those are 2 tells. And if you have something occurring and you're not sure what it is, you can always reach out to Community Affairs or Crime Prevention. Hey, someone just called me about this gas check, right? That's a usual scam. They will provide you with proper notification to try to look into that further, all right, when in doubt. So it's something we've been seeing within the command. Lastly, before I open it up to questions, yesterday at 1307 Green, inside of a public park, we had juvenile violence occur. So it was not school-related. It was 2 juveniles that got into some type of dispute. One, unfortunately, was stabbed in the leg, transported to the hospital, going to make a full recovery. Neither individual went to school near the location of occurrence. It was inside of a public park, so it was not a school incident. One of the individuals lives in Queens. The other one lives in this community. So that happened yesterday. We made the arrest of the perpetrator this morning. They are both juveniles, so now we'll go down the processes of conferring them with the youth officers and stuff like that, okay? That's my crime review, and then any questions if anybody has something. Thank you.
Good evening, Raul Rubio, Community Board 4. I've been getting mail to my address from actually addressed to it looks like 2 different companies that may have used my address as to register a business. I did a check online, and it does say that some business entity has registered a business using my address. What can I do about it?
Are you suffering any financial loss or anything like that, or just that they're using your address?
Just from what it looks like, you know, my address is now the address for 2 different companies.
So if you want to give your info to one of my officers, we'll reach out to legal to see what we have, and then possibly take in a police report, or maybe contacting the companies, but we can do that on the side. Okay.
I had 2 quick things. One's a comment on the job scam. The other job scam that's happening right now is on LinkedIn and online. You're getting advertisements for jobs, or the people, and you'll apply, the person will call you, and then they ask for the last 4 of your social. I got caught with that, and then I ended up on the dark web and having to pay for LifeLock. So be very careful. If anybody asks you for your social during the interview, it's bogus. That shouldn't come until you're hired and you're talking to the actual payroll. The other thing is my old roommate is still using my address, and he hasn't lived there in like 13 years for his license, for his registration. I don't know what to do about that.
We'll reach out to legal and see maybe we can document that, submit something for you.
Hey, good evening, Ben Tucker. I live on Bushwick Avenue, and one of the previous meetings you were talking about the trucks problem on Bushwick Avenue. Seems like it's getting worse, not better. I was just wondering if you can talk about the enforcement on that.
Yeah, I did mention that last time. So the traffic officers are well aware of that, obviously that corridor. We actually just put out education to the cops so that they can see what are and are not truck routes within the command. That's just going to be something, unless we get some type of engineering to prevent them from actually physically getting on that road, it's just going to have to be constant maintenance, as I call. So we do operations, like I'd mentioned, to address those trucks. I didn't bring those ops tonight, but if this is like something that's ongoing, I can just constantly update you. So just summonses, and to correct that, I had this similar issue in a previous command. The truckers have their own GPS that's telling them to go on that route, possibly. So that's something we'd have to look into, and if that's occurring, then we can try to reach out to that GPS company and change that. I did submit for more signage. It came back that there was enough signage, so they're not going to give us more signs there. I can always resubmit. But that's just going to have to be something that we're going to watch as I continue my term here. So, okay.
Hi, Marisol del Valle. We've had 2 break-ins into our building recently. We didn't file a police report, and we told our landlord, but they didn't really do much. I love my landlord; he's great, but he didn't do much. What should we do? Should we file the police report without doing anything?
We always need the police report. That's the only way I can actually accomplish or try to accomplish anything. So, you can call 911, or you can come into the command, whichever is easier for you. But we want to definitely document those occurrences, get as much information as we can so that we can look into it, because the person that did that is not only doing it to you,
So what they did is they actually they broke the lock on the front door.
Yeah.
And the cameras aren't real cameras, so that's a thing that's people are doing. It's a small building.
Yeah. So you can call 911, or you can come into the command, whatever is more convenient to you, explain to the officers what happened. We'll take a report. I'll then compare that with what else is going on, and we probably know who the person is. And then, so definitely report it, though.
Hello, I'm a proud Bushwick loving woman over here. I got 2 problems for the aide to look upon. One, there is plenty of basically 18-wheelers, tractor trailers, and big, big trucks passing down by Wilson and Putnam that is by a school, doing left turns and right turns over there. The crossing guard always tells every tractor trailer, go straight down, you have Broadway and you have Bushwick Avenue to do all your left turns and right turns. This is a problem. How can me as being a driver, to tell, the tractor trailer driver, yo, do yourself a favor, instead of you try and go hit somebody's car, go straight down the block. So we have like a traffic enforcement over there.
Okay, so you want to educate the truck drivers where else to go?
Yes.
Okay, so what we can do is I can send some officers over there, try to track down this traffic agent, and maybe let them know of more.
That's every morning, though.
Yeah, but usually it's the same agent. If it's not the same agent, I can call the district that they work at and let them know at this location, it's a better choice to send the trucks this way as opposed to that way.
Because there's a school there,
Yeah.
and you don't want, God forbid, there's kids crossing.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid, you might be crossing, your mom might be crossing, my mother might be crossing, and one of us end up getting hit by a tractor trailer.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have no lawsuits with NYPD, nor the people that, that's driving.
No, I can speak to him later.
Over there. One here, and then we're going to close it on Zoom. Then we have one on.
Hello, Melissa again, former CB4 member. This is a similar to the former complaint or I also live on Bushwick Avenue. I know that NYPD traffic used to do a lot of traffic stops for commercial vehicles and trucks. That hasn't happened in a very long time. I commute and take my children to school every morning. I am a newer driver, and that hasn't happened in a while, and I know that commercial vehicles that are not doing local deliveries should not be driving on Bushwick Avenue, but they're still doing it. And the amount of hazardous conditions that are created for people that are either walking their children to school or as a driver has increased, I want to say, since the weather has gotten warmer. Drivers have gotten more courageous, but there's just an influx of trucks navigating down Bushwick Avenue like it's a highway, and it's very dangerous. So I would encourage for there to be more traffic stops and checking those trucks if they're actually supposed to be on there. If they're not doing a local delivery, they should not be driving down Bushwick Avenue.
Yeah, so we've done operations. It's buried in my notes somewhere, and we did just that. The car stop, is the truck allowed to? Because they are sometimes. If they're not, we issue summonses. So definitely keep it on top of that.
I think we have one on Zoom.
Go ahead, Z.
Yes, hi there. Good evening, and thank you, Novoa, CB4 member. I have a concern, Steinway's between Melrose on the really close to the other side of Bushwick. It has become sort of a racetrack, Steinway to all the way to Melrose, because that is behind where Renaissance Court is and all of the Rhine-Go is. There seems to be constantly every night cars just coming up. Even though there's two speed bumps, it's become totally useless. And also the trucks have tendency of coming down that road, which is very narrow, and there's no way for them to even turn. I think they're trying to cut traffic instead of heading down, Flushing, and then turning onto Bushwick. And then they come into a stop, and it creates a backup and everything. It's not a truck route. And I'm trying to advocate, how can we make that for trucks not to come down? There's nowhere for them to go, actually, except crossing back up and then staying there on Melrose and making that right, and then still having to go down Bushwick. So how can we stop that? Because all the trucks that have come down through there the steep speed bumps don't help at all. But we're having now at nighttime cars coming down, stop speeding. And this is not far from the Hanks bar. This is not reference to that particular bar that's there, but it's that corner that trucks cannot go any further, and they think they can go, and then that's what it's just really, really becoming a noisy, and now so overcrowded. How can we stop that? They're not supposed to come down that street at all.
So if they're not supposed to be going down there, similar operation as Bushwick, we could do operation, issue
Okay.
summonses. I'll put in the traffic intel report for more signage. Traffic will come and look at the area, and sometimes, even though it's not a truck route, they'll make it more accessible for a truck to turn. Or we can get more signs so the trucks know, don't come down here, and if you do, you're probably gonna get stuck. So I can work on that and get back to you next week, or next month.
Thank
That's one. And then,
Okay, I have one, I'm sorry, Courtney Henley, Community Board 4. One last issue. We have a noise issue. There's one block, Melrose, between Central and Wilson, where the people just stay outside and put a box and turn it all the way up to the point where the windows on 2 blocks on each side are shaking. And if you call, they say it's a noise complaint, but it's, we need something done about that because that's insane. I mean, I don't mind if people are outside playing their music, but to the point where your windows are actually shaking, it's a little bit crazy.
So public noise on a street is determined to be unreasonable if you can hear it 100 feet away, which it sounds like you definitely can. So we can make that observation and then address those individuals and see if they're going to lower it or eliminate it. And if not, that could then lead to a summons and a seizure. So that's a 311 complaint that you can lodge when it's happening, or you can reach out to your Q team officers direct. You could do that too. I'm available. Yeah, but yeah, that's how we could tackle that. So Q team, let these people know it's too loud. We always can use discretion if need be, but we have to have the accommodation. And if not, then it would be a summons and a seizure. So.
I know you mentioned, Inspector, the venue, and you're talking about security. We want to make sure that one, MTA and 7,850 people, plus the 90 liquor licenses we have along Wyckoff, Star, Troutman, the saturation that's going to happen with a venue that wants to operate at 7 a.m., all the way 7 a.m. in the morning. So you're saying you're speaking to security, but what is going to be your security when you don't have no manpower to operate this location, and what's going on when they leave from CB1, which is Williamsburg, over to the L and Montrose spot? 7,850 people, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when people got to go to school. Outside is residential, CB1 is manufactured, and warehouses and all that stuff. No one lives there. So guess what happens on our side? We already had 10 letters sent to the office. We going to speak on it. I don't know if they were supposed to come or not supposed to come. I know there's supposed to be some sort of task force or things going on. I don't know what's going on. But my question to you is, do you have the staff to address 7,850 people coming out of the venue, plus what you have at Wyckoff, Troutman, Jefferson, and those areas there, with another venue opening up? So I need to make sure that you're covered, so when something does happen, you say, yeah, we have the manpower, someone needs to be there. Because, we only make recommendations in regards to selling alcohol, but at the end of the day, the liquor authority has the right to give them what they want, especially when it comes down to money. So the more you stay open, their philosophy is the more they drink. So guess what happens when they drink and they come out to our neighborhoods? So we want to make sure that maybe you can give us something where we can write down and says, well, the inspector told us that this is going to happen, and let's see if we have a dream or something.
Yeah, so something of that size, is definitely going to affect the neighborhood. I don't see how it could not. However, as that starts running, we will make our observations. We'll confer with the 90 precinct, which is the precinct up there. We'll see what's going on and what we need to implement, and then I will implement it. And if I don't have what I need to implement it, I'll reach out to my supervisors, right? Because the club zone I made when I got here didn't exist until I got here, and I saw what I needed, I implemented, and I was able to get what I needed. So that same tactic will be used for this location. I find it very hard for them to deny me when, 7,835 people, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 o'clock in the morning, So we'll see what it is, and then I'll confer with my superiors if I have to. I would absolutely love the help from the community to help, which you're always very well and good at. But yeah, we're going to jump on that when it starts, and we're going to stay on top of it, and, we're definitely going to have a plan for that. But thank you for the support.
Yes, we'll be backing you and making sure you have the manpower you need to make sure that this community is safe. Thank you.
All right, we will move on. Thank you to the Deputy Inspector. Any other questions, you can refer to them offline. We got to move on with the meeting, folks. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much.
All right, introduction of elected officials and other representatives. Other representatives include community-based organizations, city agency employees, business owners. Please line up in the middle if you're here in person. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand.
Hello, my name. Oh.
Name and contact only, sorry.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Madeline Enlow. I work for Office of the Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. We are at 209 Geralman Street, and you can reach us at 718-802-3700, and my extension is 3834. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Kim Vega from Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez's office. We're located at 244 Union Ave, and our phone number is 718-963-3141. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Maria Valdez from the Office of Senator Julia Salazar. We're located at 212 Evergreen Avenue, phone number 718-573-1726.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah Villanueva from Assemblywoman Maritza Davila's office. Our address is 673 Hart Street, corner of Central. Telephone number is 718-443-1205. I am so sorry.
Hey, Jonathan on Zoom.
Good evening, everyone. Jonathan Betancourt here representing Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez. We are located at 266 Broadway, Suite 201, right above the Bank of America on Havermeyer Broadway. And our phone number is 718-599-3658.
I see no one else in person. I see no other hands on Zoom. We will move on now to our committee reports. I kindly ask for our committee chairs to please summarize bullet points if possible.
Annette Spellin, Chair for Civic, Public Safety, Religious Health, Human Services, Senior Citizens, Veterans Committee.
That's it. That's your report.
We met on Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. at the district office, and we had a request for a letter of support for 3 sentencing reform bills with the Public Safety Committee. One was for Earned Time Act, which is S3424/A1085. And what this does is expands opportunities for incarcerated people to earn time off their sentences through productive participation in programs such as education and counseling, exemplary behavior overtime, and currently many people are ineligible for meaningful time credits and may only get up to 6 months early parole consideration. The goal is to transform prison culture from warehousing and hopelessness to incentive-based rehabilitation. The second act was the Second Look Act, S158/A1283. This creates a process for people who have served at least 10 years to apply for resentencing before a judge. The explicit focus on people who are 55 plus years old and those who commit offenses under age 25. New understandings for brain development, mental health, domestic violence, and substance abuse have found that some of these people could benefit from getting out a little early. The third one was for the Marvin Mayfield Act, S1209/A1297. It seeks to restore judicial discretion in sentencing. And with that, the constraints from mandatory minimums and two-thirds strikes laws. The power imbalance where many defendants feel coerced into taking plea deals rather than exercising their right to a trial. The aim is to allow judges to tailor sentences more fairly and proportionately instead of being locked into overly harsh sentences. We also had a presentation by Ed Williams, he was Associate Executive Director for the Coalition for Hispanic Family Services. This organization has an ultimate amount of services that they give, and the best thing for us to do is to reach out and try to find out what they need and how we can utilize their services, because it was so much that he gave us. They have a Bonds Link outreach clinic. They have 0 to 3 baby mothers groups. They have community residents for ages 8 to 12 years old. They have children and family treatment services. They have school and community presence. They have approach and philosophy. And they have board community responses. Now, the committee asked, due to the request for the letter of recommendation, the committee took a vote, and the vote was, we have one person who abstained, and the vote was passed for the letter of recommendation. Otherwise, we've had 3 fires in Bushwick, one at 84 Cornelia, one at 59 Wilson. No, we have 4. And 247 St. Nicholas and 88 Minahan. And with that, that was, for the most part, the committee meeting. Any questions?
All right.
By the way, one other thing, the request for the letter of support in the state, each one of these was approved by Julia Salazar, Maritza Davila, and the Marvin Mayfield Act was also supported, co-sponsored by Eric DeLon.
All right, thank you, Ms. Spellin. All right, and there is an error on the agenda. My apologies, folks, but I just want to make sure that Arts, Culture, Technology, Youth, and Education is acknowledged. They did have a meeting. Zach, did you still want to just provide a brief summary? Thank you.
Hey everyone, Zach Hedrickson, CB4 member, reporting and filling in for Arts, Culture, Technology, Youth, Education Committee. I just want to encourage everybody to definitely go through and read the notes. We had a pretty robust discussion because it included a lot of the funding stuff that I'm not really going to go in depth here about, but it is a 14-page report and lots of good stuff in there. But I do want to highlight some of the presentations that were given to our committee. So first of all, we had Noel Alan, I think I'm saying that correctly. Close enough. Artistic director and co-founder of the Bushwick Star. Just providing an update. They do this pretty regularly for us. Just an update on the theater's programs and activities here in Bushwick. And I'm not going to go through everything, but a couple of new things to be aware of is they're hiring a new community director position, which is really meant to deepen relationships with schools, community-based organizations, parents, and regular community members here in Bushwick, and to improve communication and outreach about their programs and opportunities. So that's something we've heard a lot tonight about, is just making sure people know what's going on. That position is looking to start expected late April, early May. So I don't know exactly where they are in hiring with that now, but just a heads up. There's also going to be new theater game classes that they're starting with elementary and middle school students. So there's going to be starting Saturday morning classes at the theater for third through fifth graders and sixth through eighth graders. This is really addressing a specific demand that they've seen growing from their Big Green Theater alumni. So the Big Green Theater is sort of an environmentally conscious, eco-conscious theater program that they do with middle-aged youth, I guess you could say, in the neighborhood. But a lot of kids were like, we want more things to do. We want to, be involved in this kind of work outside of this program, and so they are doing that. It'll be sliding scale, starting at $0 for the people who have the highest need, all the way up to $20. So even then, still pretty affordable, I think. With free, like I said, free participation available, and outreach materials will start being distributed within the next few weeks. They're also starting for the first time a new summer theater camp and a month-long summer arts festival. So a lot of really exciting stuff happening with Bushwick Star. Again, I'm going to try and move quickly here, but really great stuff. We also had a sort of old business, new business, I guess, but a really important piece of mail that our chair, Mr. Camacho, shared with all of us. And I'm just going to read it out directly for all of you because I think it's incredibly important. This was an anonymous letter that was provided to us and sent to the board from a resident of Hope Gardens at 422 Central in the 416 Sidem area as well. And the letter reads, "There's a big problem with the youth in 121 and 4160 Minahan. Drugs, gangs, and guns. When is the community going to help us? My son is one of the kids starting trouble. Back in the day, 422 Central had so much for the kids, but now nothing. Please help us because something bad is going to happen soon." I just want to let that sit in with everyone. There's a really direct cry for help explicitly about our youth in this neighborhood and violence that is either happening or on the verge of happening. And we had a really robust discussion about this. This has been a long-standing concern that I think several folks have known as something that's like kind of boiling over with young people in Hope Gardens, but something that we should all be aware of. And so I want to focus on what's happening, and Celeste, you may have more updates on this if you want to add anything, but basically, we all agreed that Celeste shared she's coordinating a meeting on behalf of Mr. Camacho to re-engage in a more formal, accountable way with all sort of relevant representatives and stakeholders. So, think about the Hope Gardens property management team, the 83rd Precinct, Councilmember Nurse's office, and other elected officials, but also thinking about CBOs, and Celeste and I have at least exchanged some small, messages about work that's being done in other parts of the city, right? Violence interruption programs, thinking about really getting to the root cause of like what is happening when young people resort to violence. And so really thinking about those sorts of things. And I want to not take too much more time in case there's more of an update. We also had a short conversation about Bushwick 1000 and the Youth Jobs Initiative. And again, a longer conversation about that note on community safety at Hope Gardens. So a lot to sink in. I really do. If you read one report from this committee, please go back and read this one because I do think it was a really, really important conversation across a lot of fronts. So it's all in your emails. Thanks.
Annette Spellin, I just want to add to what Zach said about the Hope Gardens issue. I'm on the precinct council. It has been brought up to the precinct. The commanding officer is fully aware, and they're thinking about doing vertical patrols there. But it's something that we have to work on a little further.
Hi, everybody. Ann Guiney, Economic Development, Housing and Land Use Committee. We met on Tuesday, March 31st. The vast majority of our conversation was about the presentation that you all heard in the public hearing section on the Melrose Street proposed rezoning. So I would like to apologize for getting emotional. I think the point of that is, I hate to go against Camacho, but when you disagree, you disagree. It's like going against my father, but no, seriously. So I don't take it lightly. But I really think the most important point is if we don't like policies, we should fight policies, not each other. That's what I really would like to be the takeaway from that. But basically, our meeting on the 31st, because we had a little rough time getting to quorum, we ran through our mail first. So there was some interesting stuff in the mail. Very briefly, information on the housing fast-tracked and charter reforms that were passed as part of everything everyone voted when I know you flipped your ballot and you filled in those dots last year. That's what happened. We voted for it, and it has changed land use, and in some pretty profound ways. Some interesting ways, and if you want a little explainer, check your mail. So there is that, some small business stuff, and then 221 Charles Street, there is a project coming down the pike, 99 units. Again, check it out. 826 Flushing Avenue, as many of you recall, it's right next to the playground. There was like a C-Town there for a long time. Not a very nice C-Town, I gotta say. And now it looks like it is going to be a 7-story, 47 units. So that's also coming. There is some affordability via voluntary inclusionary housing and 421A or and 150 Knoll Street, blah, 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 on and on. Most importantly, back to the Melrose project. Again, as you all heard, it's 132, 136 Melrose, going from, the proposal is from M11 to MX with some housing as well as still M zone on the ground floor commercial. They are moving their existing facility to the old Richie's Gym site. If you guys remember on Stanwyck Street, I used to go to Richie's Gym, not very often, but it is, so they are staying in the neighborhood down the block, and they are proposing 6 stories, 18 units. As it was presented to us in the notes, it is at 28% affordability. 18 units total, 13 market rate, 5 affordable. I know we want more. This is privately funded, and I think this is something that we should take the project on its merits. We are not going to do a recommendation today. It's going back to committee. I welcome you all. Everybody is welcome, always. Next meeting is April 28th. It is at 1420 Bushwick Avenue, 6 p.m. But again, I think what we have to do is look at a project on its merits based on what the existing policies are. And that is what I would ask everyone to do. So I think that's pretty much it. There are some, what we also did talk about, is a few other things. My notes are a little messed up, but we talked about 1420 Bushwick Avenue and the whole process about that. Like it is city-owned land. Technically, HRA owns it. It is not administered by the city. So this has been a multi-year conversation that we have been having and participating in. And I think as members of the community, all of us should have a say in that because it's an extraordinary asset for the community. And then finally, we're talking about the district needs assessment that we all do every year, and to really get ahead of the ball on that one, be smarter about it, be more proactive, and so that's really what we're talking about. So are there any questions? Anybody? See you on the 28th.
All right, Christine, we're ready for you. I have faith.
I will say, just as to finish up that bit with the proposal, the housing proposal sorry, I'm so short that I never reach it. I actually thought that the proposal was quite, of course we always want more affordable housing, but I actually found the proposal to be quite thoughtful, the team to be quite reactive. I think it says a lot that they came here tonight. It's a very balanced proposal with the manufacturing staying in the neighborhood. There are a lot of quality quality pieces to the proposal. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, without further ado, everybody's favorite permits and licenses in the presence of my previous chair. Okay, let's get started. We had 3 liquor licenses. One was Sahama Restaurant at 941 Broadway and Melrose. It's a Dominican restaurant looking for method of operation changes for extended hours within our stipulations. Next up was Patricia Nunez, a Colombian restaurant at 274 Knickerbocker at Willoughby, just across from Maria Hernandez. Also, liquor, wine, beer, cider license. They had multiple missed committee appearances, so we discussed that a little bit. Repeated requests for letters of no objection for temporary permits. It sounds like they had some extenuating circumstances. Their hours of operation were going to be a little bit outside of our stipulations, but they agreed to scale them back a tiny bit. It was like 1 hour outside our stipulations. And then finally, we had La Gualencena, an Ecuadorian restaurant at 251 Wyckoff Avenue in Bleecker. Wine, beer, not a full liquor license. They're right next door to the Jehovah's Witness facility. Again, well within our stipulations. So we voted to support all of those applications. Let's see what else we got here. We had one follow-up note about Bashira, which was a retail cannabis dispensary at 133 Wyckoff. That was just a follow-up from the OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, where they mentioned that they had noted our request that they get additional signatures from the community and ultimately granted the license. The report says that we voted not in favor, but I think we might have voted in favor. Celeste, I sent you the letter that I found about that previously, so we can take a look at that. But in any case, it was just follow-up information, and just to let us know, in general, we're finding that the OCM is much more communicative and detailed about their decisions, which is very much welcome, compared with the SLA, the State Liquor Authority, which is much less transparent. Okay, what else do we have? We have 7 pages, folks, halfway through. Okay, other things that we discussed the Avant-Gardner, briefly discussed that. There'll be more coming on that, so we're not going to talk about it tonight because it's a big whole thing. It was referenced several times tonight with this very, very, very large venue in CB1. CB1 had a public hearing about it last night. About 12 people from CB4 attended, not necessarily board members, but people from our district, and gave testimony. We'll be hearing more about that later on, in the coming weeks and months, not tonight. What else did we discuss? We discussed doing potentially or trying to partner with somebody to do an impact analysis of the nightlife in Bushwick, sort of balancing the cost and benefits. So the benefits being jobs, business revenue, et cetera, business activity, and then the cost, the noise, the quality of life, loss of manufacturing, jobs, but what kind of jobs, and, sort of loss of residents. So this is something that's on our radar if the appropriate partner comes through. We also discussed inviting Assemblymember Davila and Councilmember Gutierrez to come to speak to us about these issues. We're getting an increasing number of complaints from the community. They seem to be attending every meeting these days. What else? Actually, one such community member attended and was there to speak on the topic of an outdoor bar, a bar that had very late outdoor hours, which did not make an appearance this time, but another establishment came up, Vacations, and so she had mentioned that there were ongoing problems with that, and somehow the owner of Vacations happened to be on the call, so he spoke with us a little bit about that. One thing I will say is that the 83rd Precinct sent an officer to attend our meeting, Officer Lopez. They've already gone, it's really late. We were so grateful to have him there because he could hear discussions like what occurred with vacations, right? We have a lot of tools at our disposal. We have 311, we have the folks from the community who are giving public testimony, but there are a lot of gaps, and I think that having the 83rd, I hope they'll continue to attend. It's a really great addition because they can sort of read between the lines and hear some unsolicited conversations that they might not otherwise have access to. And then finally, we also tried to get proactive about district needs, talking about, typically PLC does not appear in district needs, or not very much, but we talked about things that we might potentially ask for, including noise cameras and additional support from enforcement as well, DEP, NYPD. And I think that's it. Okay, any questions or comments? Seeing none, seeing none, seeing none.
All right. Thank you, Christine.
James Stewart, Chair of Shape Up Bushwick. Just going to go briefly. Shape Up Bushwick will take place on June 4th at Irving Square Park, and so we want you all to be there. The theme that we agreed to, Bushwick Get Fit Where You Live. We're excited about having the first meeting that went over activities we're going to do that day, looking at donations and sponsors, and then talking about key logistics. Our next planning meeting is on April 30th at 12 p.m. We only had a few people, and so we know the planning committee is usually vast, but everybody is certainly welcome to attend. Please take a look at the report that is here. Is there any questions? On April 30th, on Zoom is at 12 o'clock, and so just communicate with the board office. They will get you the information. All right. Any other questions? All right.
All meeting details are available on the board's website calendar. All right, that concludes committee reports. Mr. Camacho, if I can ask respectfully for you to summarize your report this evening.
Got it. On third, well, there's a lot of meetings that go unless y'all want me to make a copy of this and give it to y'all, and then we can. That would be great, but.
Ann Guiney made a motion, second by Cindy, for what Mr. And do you want to? I can't make.
I would like to make a motion for a Xerox of your meeting schedule to be passed out so that we can know all the incredible work that we know you do every month.
And that was seconded by Cindy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. This is due to the time. No, this is due to the time.
No, but
you
I
can
wanna
summarize
make sure.
that. Just you don't have to go through all of it, but you can summarize the most important thing, Mr. Camacho.
I want to summarize this most important. He wants, the borough president wants us to update all the community boards, their bylaws in regards to code of conduct. Everybody stood quiet when I said that. And bylaws and language, conduct, and enforcement in regards to when someone don't do. So this is just informational. So we can, when the committee meets now to do the ad hoc committee does the bylaw revision, you can add things, take away things, and make sure that our bylaws are what our bylaws is and governs, which the city charter governs us to make sure in regards to conflict of interest, in regards to different people. So I gave a copy to Celeste. She's gonna give it out to you guys. Read it, highlight what's good, and whatever's no good, then we'll vote on it and add it on to the bylaws revision. And that's, I guess so. Celeste will get.
Attach it to the Xerox of Mr. Camacho's report.
Yes, and then the last thing that was very important that I wanted to tell you that was more important than anything that I know that we're talking about Hope Gardens. I wanted to make sure that the advisory board, to let y'all guys know that yes, Department of Youth and Education, one of their to apply for their grant are supposed to be community outreach engagement within the medium school students, since we're talking about kids, and also they need more New York City housing participant ideas for reaching out for the tenants and the youth in this place. Because part of the Department of Youth and Education is 38% supposed to be from Hope Garden youth in regards to the center. So we really need to make sure that everyone, all those kids, and Fight for 422 Center to make sure that they can utilize that place and that there's programs there for the kids inside us instead of them hanging out in the hallway. So there are important meetings that I went to, and this was one the advisory board, Hope Garden Advisory Board, is trying to implement to make sure that instead of those kids being in the hallway and getting into drugs and smoking weed and doing, the girls are out there doing those videos that they do, that I went and walked in one of those videos and do, them selfie videos, and we have to make sure that there's a good place where they can go do it and not in the hallways. Meaning if there's a place where they can rap or do the stuff, because people thinking out the box, we're not. So we had to sit down and listen to them and hear their needs. So, you know, if they do that and we can find a place where, a room in Hope Gardens where they can do their videos or their rap or whatever it is that they do in a place where it's safe and environment for them, where they're not doing anything wrong, why not? So we have to listen to them because they're going to do it regardless. Either they do it in the street, in a building or somewhere, and then you're going to talk and criticize about them. Why not us giving them a place where they can do it and it can be more fulfilling? And you don't know who we might get out of that. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the district manager's report. I'm going to keep it very brief. Good evening. Happy belated Eastern Passover for those that observe. I will only highlight one thing, which is we did hold a youth safety meeting for Hope Gardens, which was attended by a variety of stakeholders. I will come up with a creative way to share everything else I did. I forgo the rest of my report. My gift to you. All right, recommendations. I have a cheat sheet, but Ms. Spellin, if you want to get us started.
Okay, we have a request for a letter of support for the Earned Time Act, the Marvin Mayfield Act, and the Second Look Act. The committee voted to pass the Earned Time Act and the Second Look Act. They also agreed to pass the Marvin Mayfield Act with one abstention. We recommend that the board pass these bills.
Zach made the motion.
I'd like to make a motion for a blanket vote.
For all three of the sentencing, okay. So Zach Hendrickson makes a motion for a blanket vote for all three of the sentencing reform bills, seconded by James Stewart. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hold up, one at a time. I have one opposed here. Is there anyone else opposed? An abstention, I heard? Okay, I have one abstention. This still carries. Is there a motion? Ben made the motion, Christian seconds, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, I have Mr.
I
Camacho
oppose.
and I have Courtney Henley opposed.
I, Zinabor, oppose.
Z, you're opposed. Anyone else opposed or abstains? This motion still carries. All right, moving on now. Permits and licenses.
May I? Only reason why I oppose is because it's only vague. They only gave us the points and what they want. It's really intense, so be careful what you wish for. So you got to read the whole thing. Then just don't read what they give us. Thank you.
So as I previously mentioned, we had 3 liquor license applications, Sahama at 941 Broadway and Melrose, liquor, wine, beer, cider, which we voted in favor of supporting, Patricia Nunez at 274 Knickerbocker Avenue, liquor, wine, beer, cider, we voted in favor. This is the Colombian restaurant. And La Gualancena at 251 Wyckoff and Bleecker, Ecuadorian restaurant, wine and beer license. So we voted in favor of all of those. And then secondly, the other things that motions were made and supported were to have, to make a request to Assemblymember Davila and Councilmember Gutierrez to come present at the committee regarding the quality of life issues. And we voted to include in district needs a request for scoping and economic impact analysis of nightlife in Bushwick. And that is all.
Well, one thing, I don't want to make it more complicated, so if folks want to leave this separate, we can, but I didn't get a response for the one-day alcohol event permit from Patricia Nunez, and so I just would like that to be clarified because the rep is going to ask me.
Okay.
So if folks want to leave that separate, we can, but otherwise, is there a motion from the board? Got it. Ben Tucker makes a motion for what was referenced in the committee report for a blanket, minus what I just mentioned. Felix seconds the blanket motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh, one moment. Any other abstentions? Raul Rubio abstains. Seeing none, motion carried. Is there a motion for the recommendation? The committee's recommendation.
The blanket.
So Cindy accepts the committee's recommendation. Okay, is there a second? Second. By Courtney Henley, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay. Raul abstains, Mr. Camacho abstains,
Z Novoa abstain, yes.
Okay. I have 3 abstentions, anyone else? Motion carries.
Okay.
And there's a separate one-day alcohol event permit. Is there a motion from the board?
I will make a motion to support. They're on their way to getting a liquor license anyways, and we spoke with them. There were extenuating circumstances to this repeated letters of no objection, so I would recommend we vote in favor to support them.
With the signatures from the neighbors?
With the signatures and with the stipulated hours.
Issa seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Only one abstention, Raul Rubio. Motion carries. And I just have a few, thank you, Christine. That wraps it up for permits and licenses. We are almost there, folks. So there is a situation that we have on our route to hiring our new assistant district manager, and to make sure we have no further issues hiring this individual, I would respectfully request that the board make a motion this evening. It is not required as per the bylaws. However, OMB and the borough president's offices continue to assert policy that is not recognized by the board, and I really do not want to go another month without having help in the office. So just as a summary, Luis Muniv was selected. Folks may know Luis from El Puente, and he will now be the new assistant district manager. We've already submitted the paperwork. We've acknowledged our bylaws, but I just want to make sure that there are no other issues. I spoke to Mr. Camacho about this. Can I ask for the motion? Did you want to say anything else?
No, I just wanted to let everyone know is that all of a sudden it's something new. So the only reason why we're going to put it for a vote here is just in case.
Yeah.
They turn around and says, well, you got to put it to a vote. We don't want it to be late in the game, and then we're going to have to wait until another month or when we come back again. So if they don't, we submitted a copy of the bylaws and request of what it is. So if they don't, then we already have it on it. So, Zach?
Yeah, for the motion, Zach Hendrickson, CB4 member, with a motion to support the hiring of Luis as the assistant district manager.
Thank you. And second by Ann Guiney. Thank you. And I would just, I know this is kind of going after the fact, but I would just say if it's okay with you both to stipulate, clarify, making sure that this is explicit in the bylaws going forward, so there's no questioning of what the board would like to do. Is that's okay? I have thumbs up from folks. Okay, great. So plus stip, clarify bylaws. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much, folks. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And then there are just two more. One, this was coming from our former parliamentarian, Joanna Bennett. She had requested at the executive board meeting a letter be sent to Mayor Mamdani to convene community boards to address the challenges and concerns. And so I just want to make sure, even though this was discussed there, it has the support of the full board. And there was also a request for a baseline budget increase letter for the community board. So I want to make sure, again, that there's full transparency. Both of those things are going from executive to the full board, and have the board support whenever we write those letters to our elected officials and to our mayor. Is there a motion from the board? You can either blanket those, vote on them one by one. I defer to the board. Courtney made a motion to blanket. Is there a second? Second by, yep, Nancy. Second by Nancy. Nancy beat you to it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. And then is there a recommendation to support these recommendations from the executive board, or whatever you? Okay, Cindy has supported the executive board's recommendations. Is there a second? By Courtney Henley. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you so much, folks. All right. And that is it for recommendations from me. We can now move on with our agenda, which we are at old business, going once, going twice, 3 times, none tonight. New business, again, going once, going twice. I don't see any. Thank you all for being so mindful. We will move on. And then we have announcements. I don't know if folks want to make any. James has moved to suspend announcements this evening. That's a strong, folks have waited this long. We might as well give them a few seconds. So, 30 seconds. It's withdrawn. So we got a motion for 30 seconds. Okay, so Ann made the motion for 30 seconds. It was seconded by who? By Ben Tucker. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So 30 seconds, folks. Man. Announcements in the middle. We appreciate you. We thank you for staying this long.
Hi everyone, Kim from Councilmember Gutierrez's office. PB, if you didn't vote yet, I still have some ballots. We have a street tree care this weekend right in front of Big Reuse. It's the weekend right before Earth Day, if anyone wants to join. It's on a Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we're doing a food pantry with Farm to People again on May 7th. If anyone's interested, there are flyers over there. Thank you. Woo.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Madeline Enlow. I'm from the Office of the Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. So tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. at the Brooklyn Museum, is the 2026 State of the Borough. If you are interested in coming, you can RSVP on our website, brooklynbp.nyc.gov. Graduation award nominations are now open. Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso is proud to announce that nominations are now open for his 2026 pre-K through 12 graduation awards. School administrators are invited to nominate its students until Monday, June 1st, 2026 at 5 p.m. And so I know there was some talk before about SNAP benefits. So the Brooklyn Borough President Reynoso is deeply alarmed by the new work requirements for SNAP that came into effect this month. While our office cannot provide direct case-to-case support on these changes, our constituent affairs team can provide you with more information on the various resources that are available to you. And we're going to have more information about that coming soon. And a full summary of the changes are available on our website's homepage, brooklynbp.nyc.gov. There are flyers on the table for all of these things and more initiatives. So just to keep it short, if you have any questions for me, you can grab my card, and I'm happy to discuss any of this. Thank you.
Good evening, Maria Valdez once again from the Office of Senator Julia Salazar. Next week, April 20th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., we are doing a partnership with Cypress Hills, homeowner counseling and financial education. HUD certified counsels will be there to understand options to connect you with resources that support housing stability and and financial wellness. So please come to our office, 212 Evergreen Avenue. We will have them monthly, and there are flyers back there. We continue to have tenant support in our office the first Tuesday of every month from 10:30 to 12, and we continue to have CUF every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Debbie from Assemblywoman Maritza Davila's office. Just wanted to let you know we have free legal clinics in our office. The next every first and third Tuesday. The next one is for next Tuesday, the 21st. That's from 1 to 4 walk-ins. We would like to invite you to the Knickerbocker Avenue Puerto Rican Day Parade that will take place on Sunday, June 14th. Registration is open to participate. So if you want to walk, participate in any type of level, please, you will find the flyer there. There's a QR code where you could go in and register. Thank you.
Hi, Nancy, CB4 member, but also a member of Motherhood Collective. It's made of local moms in Bushwick. We are having a very fun event on Sunday at Secret Reso Club, 122 Central Ave. It's a story time. I'm looking for volunteers to read. If you come, you may recognize some readers that are not just me, but other people in the community board. And there's also going to be a book fair. It's sponsored by Brooklyn Book Bodega. They donated many, many books for all age ranges, and it's all free. So please come and grab books, 3:30 to 5.
Hi, everybody. Zachary Hendrickson, CB4 board member. Here to let you all know and invite you all to the next North Brooklyn Democratic Socialists of America, DSA meeting happening this Saturday, April 18th from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Just outside of Bushwick in East New York. We're trying to hit all the different neighborhoods in this area. It's at 100 Hinsdale Street. There's also a virtual option available. And I try to shout out just the meetings that I think will be of interest to folks. And this meeting in particular, we're going to be talking about the war going on in Iran, which I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about and what's happening. We're also going to be talking about May Day 2026. May Day is going to be here before we know it. Massive labor mobilizations and how we can support union workers all across the city and across the country. And the last thing is actually about the East New York Community Land Trust, which is a perfect segue into another presenter.
Hi, everybody. Christian Celeste Tate, First Vice Chair. So the East New York Community Land Trust is hosting a fundraiser on April 23rd, 8 p.m. at Nowadays. The fundraiser is not just to support the Land Trust, it's to support the East Brooklyn Liberation Center, which will be a community-owned space for community organizations to organize and do their work in East New York. Our elected official, Cindy Nurse, is going to be there speaking. She also has committed money, as has Senator Salazar, to support this effort. So please come through again, April 23rd, 8 p.m. at Nowadays. And then also following up on the letter that Zach read us earlier, I'm sure that we'll hear more from the district office about this later, but Common Justice is hosting a listening session on April 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. And it's going to have attendees from community boards 3, 4, 5, 9, 16, and 17. And the idea is just to share resources about what community interventions look like in each of our communities and how we are working to build safety and intervene on violence before it happens. So please come, share all the information you have about what used to exist in Bushwick or what still does. And we'll also get to learn from almost a dozen other boards. Thank you.
Last but not least, sorry, Celeste, I forgot to include this in my report. This is a call from the Office of Cannabis Management. They are just asking for folks to submit original artwork for artists under 18 and under. They're doing a big focus on health and wellness right now. They're doing a big push for that. So this is for pieces that may be featured in educational materials. Don't worry, imagery need not, in fact, should not include cannabis imagery. Just young, joyful, and colorful. I will leave it over there on the materials table. Thank you.
Thank you. Z, go ahead on Zoom.
Yeah, yes, hi, good evening. Z Navarro, Department of Health, wearing this different hat. Just a reminder that May 7th, We're going to be having the free mammogram screening at 3:35 Central from 9 a.m. to 4:30. Women between 40 and 75 can come and get a free test done if they have not been tested in 12 months. More information will be provided to CB4. Again, this is going to be at the Bushwick Health Center, 335 Central Avenue, May 7th from 9 a.m. to 4:30.
Thank you. That looks like it concludes announcements. I'm going to fly through the second roll call, folks, so please be ready if you're on Zoom. Linda Whitfield. Ben, yep.
Celeste, I got
I'm
one.
sorry. Oh, Jonathan,
I'm
your hand came
sorry.
up so slow. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Good evening, folks. It's Jonathan from Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez's office. I'll be very brief. Just want to update you guys on the Trump administration's proposed defense budget for fiscal year 2027. They are proposing $1.5 trillion, which is a 44% increase from the previous year and the largest in U.S. history. Of course, he is calling for this increase after getting us into a war with Iran without congressional authorization. And of course, to fund this increase, the administration aims to cut services that help the American people. For example, $2.2 billion in cuts to broadband and internet access programs, $8.5 billion to our public schools, $15 billion in cuts to roads, bridges, and infrastructure projects, almost $2 billion in cuts to FEMA, and $4 billion in cuts to the federal low-income home energy assistance program. This fully eliminates this program. And lastly, $395 million in cuts to job programs for our low-income seniors, and much, much more. That's not even 5% of the proposed cuts. And the Congresswoman will not vote for a budget that prioritizes war over the American people. We must refocus our national priorities. I'll leave it at that because I know we had 30 seconds. Thank you so much for a little bit extra time. And if you need assistance with any federal agency, please feel free to call us at 718-599-3658. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Round of applause from the room. All right, back to the second roll call. Please be ready, folks. Linda Whitfield, Ben Tucker, Savannah Tays, Christian Tate, James Stewart, B. Spiederman, Annette Spellin, had to go. Juan Serra, Milagro Sandoval, Josue Salazar's excuse, Eliseo Ruiz, Raul Rubio, Pablo Rivera, Shrey Richardson, Cirilo Nunez, Zuma Novoa,
Present. Good night.
Ramika Nichols Barnes, Christine Malden, Cindy LeBron, Nancy Keith, Giovanni Justiniano, Luisa Jose, Tara Jones Thomas, Virgie Jones, Barbara Jackson, Deborah Hicks, Courtney Henley, Zachary Hendrickson, Elaine Hamilton, Ann Guiney, Jason Gares, had to go, Alan Gamboa, Andrew Choi, Felix Ceballos, Robert Camacho, Isa Abney. Motion to adjourn, say your name. Ben Tucker made the motion, Courtney Henley seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 9:31. Please go home. Have a good night. Bye, everyone.
Camacho, you're doing a great job. Let's go, Camacho, let's go.